Story home for Irish football news and nostalgia. On this episode, Neil Lennon's out, Chris Coleman in. Either way, the FAI will have an imminent decision to make in the next coming days. Plus, Damien Duff called the FAI, well, their search for manager embarrassing. And plus, Jurgen Klopp loves Caoimhín Gallagher. Gallagher. All this and more coming up on Lansdowne Roar. Sorry about that, folks. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. We are live coming at you here on Lansdowne Roar. And if you like what you hear and you love what you see, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you want an opinion, head over to the greenmachinepodcast.com, thegreenmachinepodcast.com. No, we haven't changed it. Don't even bloody well ask. Right. Sorry about the delay, folks. Thank you for your patience. Couple of things. First of all, this is a very developing story with the whole Chris Coleman thing. We're going to get into it immediately, right after I apologize. And also my internet just decided to crash. So we don't know, Martin, how they did it, but the FAI managed to get into our internet. I'm blaming them. They're getting the blame for everything. But yeah, so we do apologize, folks. We are the voice of the fans. So we want you to have your say. I'm going to put up the little thingamajig there. Here you go. Make it official. Have your say. Leave a comment and get involved. We want to hear from you. We've already got comments coming in. We will get to those at the comment section. Also, the good El Roar faithful that you are, this is a developing story. We don't have a producer. So if stuff is breaking, please let us know. Please share and we'll get into it. Because that happened to us before, I think, with Stephen Kenny, didn't it? Live on air. It was pretty much gone whilst we were going there. Anyway, Martin, very quickly, how are you doing? Are you well? Are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, trying to follow the latest breaking story and Irish football, and it's all a bit mad, and we're expecting a busy week this week. But yeah, look, like we said, do kind of give us a follow, of course, and subscribe. But if you are watching the show and you've been enjoying the show as well, just quickly grab the kind of link to the YouTube channel, WhatsApp it to a mate, and tell them to watch it as well. And
Tell them to watch it
because we want people involved in it. We're a little bit like TalkSport, but we actually, because we let you get involved, basically. I don't think there's any outlet in Irish football that lets you do that. So we want to hear from you.
We're the only ones to do it.
Yeah.
We're the only ones to do it with the Irish football team. We let you have your say. Just look at some of the comments here. Feck's sake, get the show on the road, lads, says Ivan Yelp. How you doing, Ivan? Well, we're on the road, barely. And the aim in 1976, duck's sakes, lads, you should take longer than the FAI getting a manager. Thank you for your patience and good humour as possible. So get those comments in. What do you think of the situation? Neil Lennon said he was out. We all thought, I want to be fair. Some people thought fantastic, and then we were told, well, actually, you got Chris Coleman, and then it's like felt like being kind of taken off the Titanic's, rescued from the Titanic, and then just to be brought up onto the decks of the Lusitania. Probably some felt there. Right, let's get into it. Today it was announced by Neil Lennon. I don't have many graphics here, Martin. We're doing it old school here. But basically, yeah, Lennon said he was out. Where is it here? Neil Lennon ruled out, according to Mark McCadden. It is believed that the FAI Director of Football, Mark Hannam, has contacted the former Celtic manager on Sunday morning to inform him that he would not be the next Ireland boss. Lennon revealed on Saturday during punditry duty with Premier Sports that a call on the job was imminent. And also betting was suspended. Current markets is... Have you had a look at that, by the way, what the current market is?
No, I've not. No. I did see betting was suspended, but I mean, it's been on.
Is it still suspended?
So yeah, it was all. So,
well, we'll have a look at that later on, but I think it's still suspended now. So I think, especially with this coming in. But anyway, we continue. So now it's come out as Chris Coleman. And I mean, according to, and this is breaking, so I'm using my phone. Irish Examiner John Fallon, founded a podcast. Good man. He leads FAI hold talks with Chris Coleman and an ongoing search for a new manager. The FAI's 88-day search for a men's team manager has brought them to Chris Coleman after failure so far to reach an agreement with number one target Lee Carsley. The man who led Wales to semi-finals of Euros 2016 has met with the headhunting team of Mark Hannam, Jonathan Hill and Packy Bonner, but no board meeting has been scheduled to rubber stamp a deal. Now, Martin, you had a little bit of news on that. Did you say Wednesday?
Well, just Mark Hannam's quite busy this week. He's putting forward all his ideas of the pathway, doing another presentation, I think, at the Aviva Stadium in the next few days, or it was either today. And then But if they do want, I think we need to understand how the process works for the appointment of a management. If they do have a manager in mind that is very close to being agreed, they need to get that ratified by the board. So they would have to call a board meeting, where all the members of the board go, and then they're saying that they put that person to them, and it has to be agreed by the board, and then they can announce to the world that this is the new manager of Ireland, basically, and then the press conference happens and the unveiling a few days later. They think that might, there is some talk about as kind of the breaking news as it is, in a sense. If they were to, they have to arrange that meeting. Possibility that could be as soon as Wednesday. I think that's the idea. How I've interpreted this of Lennon saying it's going to be imminent, because we're really getting all of our news at the moment from.
It's all conjecture.
Candidate, yeah. He's probably was told that we're gonna let you know our position by Sunday. So that's what Mark Cannam's done. And now it goes to Wednesday. And have they spoken to other candidates? That's the only time it's ever really leaked now that Coleman is in the frame. Seeming quite positive. There's still talk about Carsley and this shortfall of money of 250 grand for the backroom staff. That's where it's kind of fallen down there, that kind of deal. But you would think, I think we're probably going to know Wednesday by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Put it to a board, have a board meeting, and then we might actually know. But there'll be a few leaks before then, I think, and it's going to come out. Yeah, I've spoken to them, I've not, or whatever it is.
I mean, it already is. I mean, we're comments are flooding in at the moment, by the way. Keep them coming in. We're going to get to every single one of them. We might be here for a while because they're coming in. We want have your say. Tell us what you think. Are you Coleman in? You Coleman out? Talk, tell us. We will get through each one of those. That's what we're about here. Yeah, I mean, I put it up there on Facebook and I asked a question. It wasn't that bad, I was expecting everyone to go, oh my God. But people were on here and they were, I mean, there is on the Lansdowne Road page, 127 comments. Happy that if we get him, says Brian Carroll. Great appointment, says Gary Roberts. Happy with that news, says Billy M. Coyle. Would love it, says Saoirse Healy. Having a laugh, says Michael Long. Good choice, Michael Quilty. A downgrade, says Reggie Regan. It's a mixed bag. It's not. I think people, I was having a row with somebody. I won't mention their name because they're not on here to defend themselves. But they were saying that, he did very well. He got into Euro 2016, but that was with a semi-final. That was a fantastic, Gareth Bale, a superb player with a decent spine. I mean, he's not going to have that with Ireland if he does get it, is he? He's going to have Evan Ferguson. It was a very raw team.
Look, we're totally different to what the Wales that Coleman worked with. But I think it's a poor argument really to say, well, we don't have. He only did well because he had Bale and Ramsey and stuff.
Well, and Gary Speed put in the defender.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you have to kind of be very fair on him with that. He can only manage what is there in international football to a certain extent, and the back kind of ground stuff has already been done. The groundwork was done by other managers, as you said, Gary Speed. But I think though you have to look at he did do very well. Like let's just cut to the chase. He did well with that team. He got them to a World Cup semi-final, wherever it was. Fantastic achievement. Euro semi-final, but really, really good, right? So what he did, and I think you can't just go, oh well, they had a world-class player. Ireland have had a world-class, like I would say, Roy Keane, world-class. Robbie was at the peaks of his power. We were doing really well with him, and the manager had him to pick. Trapattoni always said, and even Martin O'Neill kind of lamented the fact that we had a waning Robbie Keane in his kind of tenure, whereas Trapattoni always had Robbie. So I think you just have to. I think it's a weak argument to say he did well with a world-class player, because it doesn't always work out like that. We're talking about Wales as well. But there's not an awful lot between Ireland and Wales, let's be honest. And what it was is they had that generation of 2 or 3 really good players at that time who performed at the highest stage.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, there's questions coming in. They're asking about sort of records. Keep those coming in. We will get to those comments. But we might be here for a fair bit. All right. But here's the thing: like, why are they going to Chris Coleman other than you'd think desperation? Not to sound cruel to Chris Coleman, but I mean, I don't get it. You look at Lee Carsley, you go, okay, Lee Carsley, here's the guy, he's the future. He's involved in the English setup. He can give us exactly what we need. The coaching, the whole lot. He's apparently not going to take it now because they're 250 grand short per year. But then you look at, you could look at Roy Keane, for example. you'd say, okay, Roy Keane hasn't coached for a number of years, for 10 years with Ipswich, didn't do great, but you could get him in a managerial role. You could sort of, you could have the coaching staff. He's the figurehead, a bit like Ferguson, really. I'm not trying to compare him to Alex Ferguson, but he's the figurehead. You got the coaching staff there because you're insisting on your coaching staff, and then all of a sudden you would have a section of Irish fans disgusted. You'd have a vast section of Irish fans delighted. You kind of take the heat off yourself a little bit. So you can kind of understand that the marketing, he would bring the Irish team up a few levels in terms of, worldwide, because Roy Keane is a global brand, really, and especially the whole thing with the overlap. But I don't understand where this comes from with Chris Coleman. And before I finish my point, here's a guy, right? So here's his managerial career. He managed Fulham from 03 to 07. He managed Real Sociedad from 07 to 08. He resigned, and there was a bit of controversy there, apparently, over that he wasn't applying himself to the job. I think they said he showed up late for. He said he showed up late for a press conference because his washing machine broke, but they said he was out on the lash. He was Coventry managed from 08 to 010. Then AEL from 11 to 12. Wales 2012 to 2017. Then he left Wales to take over Sunderland to bring the rock and roll back to the team. To the city, 17, 18. You can see that in the Netflix documentary, Sunderland Till I Die. Then he took over Hebei China Fortune in 2019. And then his last job was with Atramotis, who are a Greek side. And he left them in 2023. So I don't get where they're coming from with this, Martin. If you're a technical director and you're going to turn around and say, oh, by the way, I'm in charge of the future of Irish football, here's Seamus, not Seamus, if only, here's Chris Coleman. I do not see how Mark Canham announces that at a press conference, here's your guy, and then the next press conference he announces is his resignation, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because people are going to go mad over this.
They will go mad. I think that we have to kind of reflect that. I think this is just, Coleman's been leaked now. This is the first time that they've actually said they've had talks with someone. So, Coleman was favourite at one stage for the Irish job. Let's not forget that. At very early days, it seems a lifetime away, doesn't it? That when it all started and the speculation and who we were going to get. But you have to remember, Coleman was the favourite very immediately from the outset. He was the one who, for some reason, everyone's going, geez, where's that come from? It went against Jonathan Hill's idea that they wanted an Irish manager. But I think, I think the history of it, I think Sunderland, okay, that's, for me, when I look at some of these managers who are not in the game now and they're out of a job, and that would be attractive, obviously, to the FAI as well. They don't have to pay anyone contractually to get out. I think when you look at it, I wouldn't count any of them little jolly ups he's had in Greece and wherever else it was, China or wherever that was. That they're jolly ups, they're just big money gigs and people.
So his last job was 6 years ago. Basically, that's really worth anything. That was Sunderland. He was in charge there from the 19th of November 2017 to 29th of April 2018. Played at 29, won 5, drew 8, lost 16, had a win percent record of 17.2%. By the way, at Wales, he had a win record of 38%. Played 50 games, won 19, drew 13, lost 18.
Yeah, but I think with the Sunderland job with him, so that was a bit of a mess at Sunderland, even you said about the documentary and things like that. I think what the FAI will like, though, about Coleman, that let's go through the pros for him, really. And I'm not endorsing him and saying, yeah, big fan of him, but I can understand it. I can understand it because he's had the experience with Wales, very similar international team to us, right? You've got young players coming through. Okay, he might have inherited Bale and all those players. That's fine, but he did get them to deliver. We have got quite an experienced group now. They're young, but a lot of them, thanks to Stephen Kenny, and I would give him the credit for that. Our cap, they've got lots and lots of caps. I would think that's the legacy of Stephen Kenny. But I think as well, another key point is he's worked with John O'Shea. I think I've read something as well this evening that John O'Shea could be involved. Stephen Rice in the background, kind of staff with it. The FAI do want to have this level of control on their backroom staff. Coleman, if you said to Coleman, come in, and our backroom staff are this person, this person, this person, you get to choose your assistant, but we actually want you to work with these coaches from our FAI kind of pool, basically, who are Irish and they have all that background with them. And, John O'Shea can put his medals on his table, whatever it is. I think that is an attractive proposition for a manager. It is, without a doubt, that is. Right?
Look, listen,
and I think that's why Coleman be attracted to it. It's an easy gig, isn't it? International football is.
No. But, Martin, we know why Chris Coleman is interested in it, because it's not the worst job in the world. It's not as attractive, maybe some people think. The reason why he's interested in it is because the last decent job he had was 6 years ago. That's why. Yeah. Let's be honest here. Now, we know his dad was from Dublin. His dad passed away. Now, I think he actually came back to Dublin, threw his ashes into Liffey. You know, and by the way, fair play, not knocking that at all. Genuinely, fair play to him. He's got the Irish diaspora and the whole thing going on there. But looking at some of the comments here, from the Roar faithful, and they're just a bit like, don't know. I mean, keep those comments coming in there. I tell you what, will we move it? Will we cover the other topics and then get back to that, and then get back to those comments? What do you reckon? Because I think it's still developing there. So we're just actually, what do you think of? We're going to get back to Chris Coleman, because I think I have a weird feeling something's going to happen when we're live. It always happens when we're live. Do you know what? Actually, if we get off this live, right, and Chris Coleman's announced when we go off, we're going back on, Martin.
Yeah.
We're going straight back on live, because we've promised our audience a live one. What did you make? Damien Duff was asked about it, wasn't he? Who, wouldn't have been totally against him getting it. But he basically called the FAI search for new manager embarrassing. He was asked, I think Dan McDonnell spoke to him. Did I have any contact? Have they not announced it yet? Said Duff when asked if any talks had taken place. How do I word this? Maybe through someone asked me, would I be interested in speaking to someone? Obviously, my answer was no. But how real it was, I don't know. I'm sure it was just a box ticker, because it was never going to happen. It's never going to happen anytime soon. Would he have said no if the approach had come through proper channels? Absolutely, he replied. I love my job here, Shelburne. I'm surrounded by brilliant people, brilliant young players that buy into everything we do. People I trust, a brilliant working environment, so I don't see why I'd leave that. Like I said, I was nowhere near the running, just to be sure and clear. And I know you get headlines. I was never in the running. There was nothing ever real or concrete. I love my job here. It's getting embarrassing now, he says, concerning the process that has been going on for 2 months. Damien Duff doesn't like the FAI, does he? I mean, he's, in my opinion, I don't think he's ever going to be a tippy top manager. Not saying he doesn't have the jam for it, from want of a better word, but I just don't think he wants it. I think he just wants to be in the League of Ireland, doesn't he? He just wants to be there. It's a project. He's probably, I don't know how much he's getting paid. I imagine he's not getting paid a great deal, really. Probably covering his expenses. He's independently wealthy. He just wants to be part of the League of Ireland, doesn't he?
Yeah, you're talking about Damien Duff. I mean, he's a guy who used to rent a power league, basically, didn't he? He used to just have a kick around stuff. He's just a passionate football guy. So, look, he's not gonna. He was in the FAI. Let's not forget, he went through the FAI kind of process of coaching. He can't do with the kind of bureaucracy of it all, and
he can't manage.
He stepped away, and
can't manage.
Done very well at Celtic. I think I mentioned the podcast before. I've seen some brilliant presentations, very much in the Mourinho mold of how he kind of conducts himself as a manager, and he was saying how Jose inspired him and taught him so many things, what to do professionally, basically, as a manager. So, and you wouldn't even think a lot of that goes on in the background, but amazing kind of stories that he was saying. But I think he's just quite happy and content, and he can make a massive influence with his profile with the League of Ireland, and I think he's doing quite well there. I don't follow it enough to know much about it, to be very honest, but they're going to ask him about it because it does have an impact on Irish football. And I think this is something that we would want the managers in the League of Ireland working quite closely with our senior men's manager, because that should be a pathway in time coming through. That's what Mark Cannon wants to put in place to some extent. So you have to have engagement from them. But it would get a bit boring of Duffer to just keep going on and being very negative about it. Yeah, he can have his say and stuff, but he's doing it as a manager, so I suppose he can do that.
He doesn't want to. He has all the tools.
No, he doesn't.
Top coach. He just doesn't want to do it.
I think he just thinks it's still a shit show in there, and in 10 years' time, he
where's he get that idea from?
Yeah, but he'll just be able to have more influence in time with the Irish football.
Fair. We'll move it on to the OBIG, and then we'll talk a bit about Klopp and Kelleher, and then we're going to get back to Chris Coleman. We're going to get into your comments. It's not really anything else to talk about other than Chris Coleman. Are you ready for a bit of OBIG, Martin?
Oh, yeah.
And also, we actually have a live social media watch, Martin. You're keeping an eye. Chris Coleman's son. Stick around for this, Martin. You're going to read him out. Chris Coleman's son is defending his dad as Ireland manager, and he hasn't even got the job yet. Jesus. Let's get to OBIG. I'm going to read him out here. We don't have Nick. Sammy Smollick's got a goal for Blackburn Rovers in the 2-2 draw with Preston North End. That is his 18th goal in the championship. Robbie Gold got a goal for Preston. Fantastic finish there again in that 2-2 draw with Blackburn Rovers. Finn Azaz got a goal for Middlesbrough. Super goal against Leicester City. Tom Cannon got an assist there for Leicester's goal. Oh dear. Bosun Lowell got a goal for Fleetwood Crack. You know Nick wrote this in a 2-1 loss to Barnsley. And Jamie McGrath got a goal for Aberdeen in a 2-2 draw with Hibernian. So Ronan will be very pleased with that indeed. Very quickly, Robbie Brady. He said he's not done with Ireland, but you reckon Ireland's done with him?
Yeah, which is a great shame. I mean, what could have been with him? It's a great regret, I think. I say that. Brilliant. One of my favourite players for Ireland in the last 10 years, I think.
He had something different, didn't he? That weight of pass, that whip.
Yeah.
Just had the world at his feet. Yeah. He is fantastic.
And I think as well, I do, it's a cracking goal, actually. It's a bit weird. He went to the crowd, didn't he, with fingers and ears and all that kind of stuff. I don't know who was making the point to. Was he getting abuse? I don't know.
But me, was it?
Maybe. But I do like a big fan of Robbie Brady.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think, I hope we could do with someone like him, but to be honest with you, like, I don't, I think his time is coming past. He's just too unreliable. He did get a bit of a run there, but yeah, I just think it's done. Speaking of a player who has the future, well, we hope anyway, if he does maybe make a move, but I don't think that's likely, although not on a Jurgen Klopp anyway, because he's going at the end of the season. But Alisson done his hamstring. Alisson Becker, the Liverpool goalkeeper, that gave Caoimhin Gallagher a starting berth in a 4-1 hammering over Brentford at their stadium. What's the name of the stadium again? G-Tech Community Stadium. Just rolls up your tongue like that, doesn't it? Anyway, so he started and he did really well, actually. And Jurgen Klopp had this to say about him. He said he was outstanding. I don't know exactly, to be honest, who's the number one goalkeeper in Ireland. But if they have a better goalkeeper than him, I have to say respect, said Klopp. He's outstanding, and this year we gave him more games than he had previously. It's well deserved because we need him. We will see how long Ali is out, but Caoimhin is exceptional. Today he was, wow, it was an A+ performance. So there you go, an A+ performance. He is probably going to play in the Carabao Cup. That is next week, isn't it, against Chelsea at Wembley Sunday. So yeah, fantastic. We're delighted for Caoimhin, but he still needs to move, Martin, doesn't he?
Yeah, we're not wishing him luck next week.
Don't be like
that.
Hope
he has a good game. Look, yeah, he should be a number one somewhere, I think, and we've said that recently on the podcast. And a fantastic save, actually. It did come back straight out to Ivan Toney, and he buried it, the rebound, but it's a brilliant save, that one. And Bazunu made an outstanding save as well over the weekend. So, yeah, done really, really well. And yeah, look, it's a position we're probably blessed in, to be fair, and it's nice to have those options of two fantastic keepers, and O'Leary as well. Travers, we've got some good goalkeepers, haven't we, coming through?
We do, but yeah, he definitely needs first team. Sorry, just getting some. I'm just checking the internet, scouring the internet, because I have a feeling this is going to break the story. Chris Coleman. Let's get back to our top story. Martin, nothing really, but a bit of social media. Have you got that in front of you there? Bit of social media watch. What we got going on there? What's this on Twitter? Give us a shout.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, we're all breaking this evening. You've got a guy called Sonny Coleman, who is actually the son of Coleman. So yeah, he's been engaged with Irish fans. I've seen someone actually set up a Twitter handle, Coleman's Children, which I thought was quite funny, instead of like Kenny's Kids, Carsey's Kids. That Coleman's Children is another one. And just engaging and saying, we don't want your dad and blah blah blah. I mean, that's it. And this would, I thought it must have been bullshit first of all when I saw it, but no, it does seem pretty genuine. And there's a lot of there's a lot of kind of giving out and rowing with him on it. But he's supporting his dad, I suppose, and justifying his history with different clubs and what he's done and things like that. And he makes the argument about he made I thought it was a very valid argument, to be honest. He said when Guardiola has 11 world-class players, it's all about Pep for Man City, but it's about the players. When you've got one world-class player, it's not the manager doesn't get any credit. So he was just making that point. It's quite interesting, quite following that. But it would concern me a little bit. Why are you getting involved? just you're the
Yeah.
son of a,
I mean,
you don't need to go there.
Stephen Doyle here on Twitter. Chris Coleman's last 3 managerial, Dubso Rebel. He is off the ball. Chris Coleman's last 3 managerial jobs and points per game stats, both Hebai and Atramotis were in relegation trouble when he left. Busted him up, then Sonny Coleman reacts to that. Atramotis took over a team 8 points adrift, kept them up that season, sold all assets, spent zero money, came 8th. Then after that, resigned when they cut the budget. Hebai have them the best finish in history, 6th season after budget chopped in half. And then Stephen Doyle responds, I did my homework. Sonny Coleman, do it better. Kai Jones, I do my homework isn't just looking at numbers and making assumptions. You have to get the feel from the context surrounding it as well. It's not all just ones and zeros. Coleman is an exceptional manager, says Kai Jones. Stephen Dalton never said if Coleman was a good or bad manager, and I was also completely aware of the situation at Atramotios. But thank you for the pointers. And then apologies for the knee jerk. I sometimes feel I have to jump in because context is often overlooked by Sonny Coleman. And Stephen Dalton goes, no problem at all. Aww. Your dad isn't accepted Republic manager. Tell him to stay in Wales, says some guy with a Palestinian flag. I'll tell him triple ellipsis stay, says stay in Wales. Understood. I says Sonny Coleman. This is interesting. But yeah, head over there to Sonny Coleman. It's a bit of crack. Shall we get into the... We're flying through that, aren't we? Should we get into the old comments there?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Let's get into it. Let's get into your comments, guys. Thank you very much. Graham Lee, Coleman out. He hasn't even got in yet, has he? Thank you, Graham, over there on our YouTube channel. Daniel Granham. Yeah, let's not have Coleman, please. I might not have a choice in that, Daniel. David Redmond. So if they can't get Lee Carsley, Chris Coleman was the best they could come up with. Embarrassing from the FAI. I have to say, David, if that is the case, we don't know yet, but it's a weird one. It's a strange one. Ivan Yallop. Another cheap option by the FAI. We are a joke at this stage. How do you think it'll be, Martin, if it comes out that the reason why we didn't get Lee Carsley and becomes a tippy top, like a really tippy top coach, we didn't get him because he wouldn't pay £250,000 a year? I mean, I understand because of budgets, but
it will be. It's the FAI cutting their cloth accordingly, isn't it? Like we can't afford it. We've got the money, and the criticism will be then. It will come back onto if we had a sponsor. Surely then it's. You trigger up the line, don't you? And who's accountable? And then you've got next in the line, basically, Jonathan Hill, Mark Canham. Like I said, we're investing an awful lot of faith in these guys to deliver this pathway. They haven't delivered on some things. Jonathan Hill, let's be honest, has not delivered a sponsor. And, is Coleman or whichever manager they're going to bring in has to kind of sell season tickets for them. And that's another big thing with this. They're delaying all this. It's gone on for ages.
Coleman's not going to sell season tickets.
No, he's not. That's the problem. You needed to kind of sound out people, and I suppose they have been to some extent, but you need to sound people out and see what the vibe is from the street. Are they just cutting their losses with this, that they're not going to sell season tickets? I think they're thinking that they're down on sales anyway. They wanted England in the draw, which they got, so that's going to put bums on seats. But it's the manager thing. Definitely, if you had Roy Keane, it's box office, isn't it? I'm not saying Roy Keane should be the manager, but
I don't understand that.
Well, we want a safe hands thing. They want this pathway person, and yet they can't deliver Carsley. So it's like they've got to get the money from somewhere if they really, really wanted them. And that's a worry. I just think if it's not Carsley, it's because Carsley didn't want it. I think the money would be a poor excuse, basically.
Fair. We'll move it on. Graham Lee, better than Lennon, in my opinion, but could we find nobody else? No imagination at all. Ivan Yallop, it's shocking to think that we couldn't persuade an ex-Ireland international to take the job. Daniel Granham, again, it'd probably be Chris Hughton, which I'm disappointed, but after Nigeria means Ghana, would he want another job so soon? Apparently, Brian Kerr did say, because he would be in contact, obviously they worked together for a couple of years. I don't think he wants it. I think that Ghana job broke him, to be honest. I'm not saying that to be horrible towards Chris Hughton. He got attacked by fans. He got attacked by journalists. Got hounded out of the job. Okay, they were terrible, but that whole thing was a mess. I don't even think he got paid, actually, during that. So, yeah. David Redmond, I'd even have John O'Shea's head coach over Coleman. Yeah, actually. So would I. Would make more sense. Ivan Yallop, has this live started yet? Oh, yes. Yes, it has, Ivan. We are live. Graham Lee, don't blame Carsley. He has a cushy number where he is. I blame the FBI taking 3 months to realise he isn't interested. Well, the thing is, Graham, what I'll say to that is that if this is all conjecture and it's all hyperbolic, and it turns out in the end, after all this, they got Lee Carsley, then you'd have to give the FAI fantastic credit, and we will give them credit, and basically say, look, do you know what? You went after your guy, you hounded him into the job. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You went after him and you delivered him. Well done to you. And okay, maybe we wanted it sooner, but you went after him. Fair play. But after all this, if you come up with someone like Chris Coleman or, someone underwhelming, then yeah, I think serious questions will have to be asked. Finnegan, Chris Hughton was with Ghana, not Nigeria. That was the response earlier on. Daniel Granaham, not yet, but people are reacting to the headlines and latest rumors of Chris Coleman rising up the polls in getting the job. G on YouTube, I think you're a new one. Welcome, G. Please don't be using a Coleman. It would be just a flat announcement. Would rather Roy Keane, at least it would be fun, bringing huge media presence and exposure. Pity they couldn't get Carsley. That's exactly, I think we go with that very quickly, Martin. At least Roy be a bit of crack, wouldn't it?
It would be a bit of crack. I mean, look, the first thing the manager's going to be appointed now, when they are appointed, they're going to be asking if it's Carsley. They're going to be saying, are you annoyed and frustrated by how drawn out this was? Carsley's response will be, I had to get my backroom and staff in place, and the money is nothing that I'm concerned about. That will be the stock answer there. If it's Coleman, like, are you worried that you're second fiddle and you were second choice? That's the media questions, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no winner there.
There's not. There's not. No,
unless Carsley or bus. I wrote an article about
that. But still, Carsley, they're gonna ask him, are you worried about how it all went, and why was the delay? Why didn't you just come out 2 months ago and say you wanted it? Then it's the stock. The answer is contractually, isn't it? And I just, on the previous comment there about, it's worrying we can't get a former Irish player. He's in a fantastic job with England under 21. He's doing amazingly well. It's a big move to Ireland from that under 21s. It's a big risk for him coaching career wise. There's no bones about that at all.
100%. Ivan Yalop, even Chris Hughton will be disappointing now. He's a bit of a dinosaur at this stage. G comes back. It will be the end of Jonathan Hill and Canham if it's true that Coleman or Houghton or Hughton got the job. Kevin Christie, you'd have to wonder, if Coleman is the answer, what's the question? More charming and eloquent than Kenny, yes, and has international experience, but can't think of much more, says Kevin Christie. He continues, preferable to Lennon, but just makes no sense. John O'Shea or similar makes way more sense and promotes the FA pathways, etc. If we're looking for a very budget-friendly option. Can't disagree with you there, Kevin. Fantastic comment, I think. Ivan Yalop, like I said, it's disappointing to not have an Ireland international not interested in the job. It shows how rotten the FAI are. David Revin, Coleman had a golden generation of players at Wales. Bale, Ramsey, Allen, etc. He's a very poor manager. Seems a bit of an idiot. Oh, don't know about the idiot bit, but it's a bit. The aim in 1976. Oh, we read that one there. Yeah, sorry. Stephen Ring, apart from Carsley, the favourites have been Lennon, Coleman, McCarthy, Bruce, etc. Why are they looking for managers that were okay choices 10 years ago? Well, we don't actually know, but, Lennon, yes, Lennon was contacted, and Coleman, and maybe Bruce and McCarthy. So I'm just going to actually move away from that comment because I don't know where I was going with that. Stephen Ring again. Sorry, Matt, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, look, the reason Stephen Kenny was kept so long in the job, really, was because there wasn't a fitting candidate to come in. If there had been someone who was, flying it somewhere, and we were saying, like, we were talking about that for months under Stephen Kenny, that he wasn't really the man for it, and that kept doing a job that he could just keep going, basically.
Yep.
There's no one putting pressure on him.
No. Stephen Ring goes with Munich losing again today. Could Anthony Barry without having could we get Anthony Barry without having to pay compensation? Yep, 7-figure sum was paid to Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, he still got the Portugal gig, but I think that's gone, isn't it? He probably wasn't even approached, or he probably apparently he approached Roy Keane, but it went no further. But that's according to Roy Keane. And I think Damien Duff kind of said, well, they kind of approached me, but it never really happened. So, Felix Unger, your mate Martin, say hello.
Hi, Felix. How you doing?
How you doing, Felix? Good man. Very, very proactive on the comments. That's fine. That's what we're here for. We are the voice of the fans, even if we don't always agree. But he says here, Felix Unger, please, not Coleman. Daniel Granham. If Chris Coleman is the best we can get, then how about Roy Keane? His big name will bring sponsorship. I'm not sure if the government will give the FAI the funds to help the team to progress. Reed McLaughlin, I take Seamus Coleman over Chris. So would I. Joseph Lennon, lads, what is the crack with all these awful managers being linked with us? Unless they get Carsley, everyone else linked, I could have put forward, and I'm just a season ticket holder and a spectator. So much for Hill and Canham football contacts, 2 absolute spoofers, and unless they get this right, I want both gone by the summer. Very strong words by Joseph Lennon. I think, to be fair, it is an attractive job in terms of the squad, but money-wise, it probably isn't. And to be fair, the FAI are potless, so there is a lot to consider, but I get your point. Felix Younger, can't believe Coleman. He's still processing that. So are we. Ivan Yolop, the FEI are broke. It seems a very unusual appointment. Duffer's comment the other day just proves how much of an absolute shit show the FEI really are. Kenny Delahunt, I'd take anyone at this stage. He did a good job with Wales. Finally, a bit of positivity for Chris. Daniel Mullen, what has Coleman done since Wales? Didn't do well at Sunderland. We did read that out earlier on. He did very, very poorly since then. Sunderland didn't quite bring back the rock and roll to the city as he said he did. Yeah, Reid McLaughlin. Also, didn't we beat Chris Coleman's Wales? We did. Didn't he say beforehand? It was the British Derby and we won. That was the game we won 1-0. We knocked him out of the World Cup. Ivan Yolop, I find Coleman a very arrogant guy, to be honest. I have met Chris Coleman at Fulham. And he's actually seemed all right, head in the clouds a little bit, but no, he seemed like an affable chap. Felix Unger, what did he do with the other teams? Oh, we have answered that. He didn't do very well. Damon Casey, we don't need or want a poppyware. That's Roy Keane out, so Martin, eh? Do I have it? Did I keep it? Did I keep
and you
it?
know, it's
delete it.
The England game in Wembley.
Yeah,
it's November, isn't it? Poppy season. I did see a good comment in that McLean comes out of retirement.
I'm sure we get there. Felix Unger, Robbie wasn't world class, Martin. So just have some of that.
Nah, not even that.
What, you're going to say Robbie Keane was world class?
Yeah, very underrated.
What's your definition of world class?
I think he was. He was world class, yeah. I think.
No, what's your definition of world class, though? What do you define world class as?
I think longevity of his career internationally. I think he done very, very well. Like look at his record of goal scoring. I'd have it that. I think it didn't work out from a number of clubs, but I would have Robbie Keane as world class, yeah. Lower scale of the world class, to be fair, but I still would say he was world class. I think very underrated as a footballer. You look at the 100 thing, or even the Gary Neville soccer box thing with him, like incredible footballer.
No, the ability off the charts for me. No, he wasn't world class. Very, very good though, but he wasn't world class in my opinion. For me, world class, you have to do it domestically. Sorry, in England or whatever at club level. In that league, you have to do it on the continent, and you have to do it internationally. And he didn't really do it in Europe because he didn't really get to play in Europe.
He did it in America.
Yeah, but in that domestic league.
Yeah. All right.
So no, that's so yeah. So if you look at a player who could do it, Roy Keane, for example. Roy Keane, there you go. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, Roy Keane
did it for United in the Premier League, did it for them in Europe, obviously, and did it for Ireland. So world class. Anyway, we'll move on. Kieran Boyle, how are you doing, Kieran? It wouldn't be a Lansdowne Roar live without Kieran Boyle. The media surge seems the same as a few weeks back when all the money went on Carsley. Just ask prospective managers if they're okay with Castori. If they are, get him working. # away to James with Castori. # we want Nike or Adidas. Kieran Boyle in Florida. I hope you are well. We have viewers all over the world here. If you're a new subscriber and a new viewer to Lansdowne Roar, let us know where you're coming from. We'd like to know. We love the fact that we have the diaspora all over the world. Look at Martin over there. He's delighted. I've been actually very kind to you this week, Martin. I haven't had a go at you or much, to be fair. Joseph Lennon, he did well because they had prime Gareth Bale, man. This is in response to Wales and under Chris Coleman. Also, they had 2 Premier League centre mids at a level we haven't had at centre mid play in years. Ramsey and Allen were solid Premier League players, and in a prime would walk into this team. We've had nobody in those positions currently playing at that level. Yet again, Joseph Lennon makes an excellent point. Newey Nurk, how you doing? If the FAI do appoint Chris Coleman, they need to make sure they have the number of a good washing machine repairman and get the music sorted. He's doing so well. David Redmond. Surely there are other up-and-coming managers like Carsley around. Even someone like Brian Barry Murphy. The FEI have made a show of themselves if it's Coleman. Felix Unger. Is this an early April Fool's? Felix still processing. Yet again, so are we. David Beckett. Don't think Roy Keane was ever really in the frame for the job. Too cushy a number working in TV. Coleman better than Lennon anyway. Who would you have other than him, lads? Other than Carsley? Keep up the great work, by the way. Love the pod. Thank you, David, very much. We do. We love you guys.
Nice comments.
We love nice comments. I massage my ego, please. But no, fantastic stuff. Who would? Well, I actually said Roy Keane earlier on, not because I think it would be a great coaching appointment, but I could see the logic in terms of the marketing thing. Who would you go with quickly, Martin?
If they can't get Carsley, I don't want Coleman. I'd rather just go as a temporary stopgap.
John O'Shea.
Stopgap. I'd go John O'Shea. Wait till June. Wait till after the Euros. Wait till how the Premiership season spans out as well. David Moyes could be available. You know, I'd rather have Moyes rather than Coleman. So, and I'm not saying I want Moyes in for the job, but I'm just saying there's other candidates who will become available. I just don't see the rush. If you're not going to get, rather than Coleman, if you want to go down that journey and that pathway route, just wait, give it to O'Shea and do the 2 March games, do the June games as well. And dare I say it, a little bit like Ollie at Man United, judging then on the performances. Jesus. I don't want to see John O'Shea get the job.
Don't get Bill started.
Bill's like, how you, Bill? Yeah, no, but I'm saying that kind of scenario presents itself. Then the person does well in the role, and the players are all talking. It would have to be a stopgap, and I don't see a problem with that. I just don't. I don't really want Coleman there, to be honest.
Fair. Blue and gold. How you doing, blue and gold? Coleman is still a step forward than having Stephen Kenny. What scares me is the likes of the Rovers manager saying he'd take the job someday. Stephen Bradley. League of Ireland standard management and players not good enough. Maybe not at the moment. Maybe not at the moment. But you know what? I'm thinking about the way the league's going. If we get that investment, I'm not a big League of Ireland fan. I don't live in Ireland anymore. But I tell you what, if it keeps going the way it's going, in about 10, 15 years' time, I think you could have a League of Ireland base manager or somebody who's learned their craft in League of Ireland and comfortably managing the Irish national team. We're probably about 10, 15 years away from it, if I'm honest. That's just my opinion. Paul Gallen, lads, he's not the answer, Coleman. He has failed in his last 3 jobs. His overall win percentage is very poor. We did go through that. 30% with Wales. 38%, sorry, with Wales. 17.2% with Sunderland after 29 games. He's kind of around the 30% margin there. United Real Talk. How you doing, United Real Talk? I've stopped long watching Irish soccer. They just hate Roy Keane. It's funny how the English love Roy Keane. It's Dublin, just the arsehole of Europe is looking that way. Why do you hate Dublin so much? I'm just laughing at
that comment. I'm just obviously we don't have a producer to filter some of these. It was just making me laugh. Sorry.
No, we don't. I am the producer.
Yeah. Good. So, yeah, you have to bear with us sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough. Felix Unger, who else would employ Coleman? That's a very good question for me, Felix Unger. Nobody really.
Well, look, yeah, but at the same time, right? So, okay, who else would employ Coleman? Look, he's not in the frame for any other jobs, championship or whatever. He's not. He's out of the game, really. But there's probably some kind of UEFA or Mark Canham or Jonathan Hill know him some way, and they're thinking, oh, he's a good candidate for it. Same time, though, like Stephen Kenny's out of a job, isn't he? He's going to. There's no one going to be knocking down the door for Stephen Kenny. Same.
I still think he has a role to play in Irish football, Stephen Kenny.
He does. League One. No one. He's not going to move to England to Stephen Kenny to get a job.
But you know what? I'd love to see him in a technical development role in League or something, just involved. You know, even his knowledge. If he goes away and he comes back and he met, it didn't work out for him. But even just that knowledge. But anyway, we got a load of comments here. We're going to get through them all. Keep them coming in. We'll try and get there. Felix Unger, who else would employ Coleman? I did answer that. Paul Gallen, he is 100% not the answer. His win percentage is really poor as manager. Everyone is mentioning that. Blue and gold. Sunderland, where are a shit show at managers coming and going. Coleman had a major job to do there at club level. Time is short. Paul Gallen, he failed in his last 3 jobs. Coleman. Adam T. Rada Coleman and Lennon, Big Sam or Steve Bruce. Felix Unger. Duff was right. Wild Bill, I can't believe people. That
was about the FAI.
About the FAI, yeah. Well said. Wild Bill, I can't believe people giving any credit to Kenny. Players developing through their clubs. Yeah, Martin. Kenny Delahunt, whoever gets the job, we will get behind him. Actually, that's a very good point, Kenny. Look, I'm not a fan of Coleman getting the job. Martin's not a fan of Coleman getting the job. But if he's in and he is the guy, we will get behind him. We will support. We'll see what he does. We'll give him time. But we're just reacting to the news that he might be the manager, and we will react to whoever gets the manager, and we'll take it from there. But we will get behind him, Martin, very quickly. We'll get behind him, won't we? We'll support him.
Of course we will. Yeah, no, we
Absolutely.
are. We've got season tickets purchased already. It's like you're supporting the team, aren't you? Ultimately supporting the players, who I think it's quite an exciting time. I know I always say, "Oh, I'm really excited" and stuff, but I genuinely am. I think I want to see another manager do better than what Stephen Kenny was doing with them, because I think they're a capable bunch, and I think youth-wise, we've got a lot of promising players coming through.
Absolutely. United Real Talk again. If not Roy Keane, Steve Bruce would only be consolidation. I would agree with Liam Reid. Who the fuck are these two clowns? You show a bit of respect for Roy Keane and Steve Bruce, please, Liam Reid. Also, how's Andy? Stephen Ring. Check the WhatsApp. Stephen Ring.
I have. Andy's a good friend of ours, actually. Was that a Risk London quiz?
He is, actually, yeah.
So, yeah, he's a good lad.
Well, there you go, Liam. Liam's not a fan. But there you go. We're just doing our best, I suppose. Stephen Ring, don't know if either of you watched the Brighton game today, but Ferguson came on around 65 minutes, and I think for the rest of the game, he received 3 passes. I didn't watch it, but he has gone off the ball, Martin, very quickly, hasn't he?
Yeah, he should have nicked the 5th goal. He could have tapped him, but he let it go in. I would have took it.
Oh, he's too nice.
Anyway. No,
he's too nice. He's too Irish. Felix Unger. Liam, their opinions are very strange sometimes. Oh, for Felix, don't agree with him. Don't agree with Liam Reid. Our opinions are very strange sometimes. But you know what, Felix? We have them. At least we have them, and we voice them, and we voice your opinions. Because we are. What are we, Martin?
Voice of the fans.
There you go. Irish Jedi. Stephen Kenny has brought through a whole new crop of young players, only came unstuck in a group of that should have been allowed to continue without a better alternative. Martin, very quickly, you have you just a couple of comments here. You asked the question on Lansdowne Roar, didn't you, on the Facebook page? Would we be a better off sticking with Stephen Kenny if we had known we'd be in the situation we're in? Just read off a few.
I'm not going to read off any of them. I upset everyone with my comments sometimes. I don't have them to hand. I mean, you got to be fucking joking. That was awful. That was shite. Oh, Jesus, lads. And it was it was all that. It didn't really go down too well. My point was, that I think did the FAI kind of, in knowing that this was coming, have they, surely you're putting your kind of finger in the pie, aren't you? Trying to find out who's available and who's coming, and it's been dragging on far too long now and become a bit farcical, isn't it? But Stephen Kenny we'd have had a manager still in place. Like that's the strange thing. For
what it's worth,
I don't know. Yeah.
For what it's worth, my opinion, no. The Stephen Kenny project had run its course. It was a failure. It was a failure. It was a failure. And I think we knew from the previous November, 2022, we knew it was done. I said it. I think we all agreed on it. And it just showed Stephen Kenny, he just wasn't up to it. Unfortunately, he's a lovely man. But yeah, no, I agree with those showing abuse at you, Martin. Not Stephen Kenny, though. Sebastian Knowlton, how are you doing, Sebastian, over in America? For now, I'm happy with Eileen Gleeson. She's got the coolest hair in all of football. Yes, she does. She and I should unite and start a new wave band, the fellow Gingers. Irish Jedi, if Lee Carsley was the number 1 target, then a similar backup appointment should have been lined up. That I agree with. I think Anthony Barry was kind of touted as that, but 7-figure sum paid. Munich paid for him to Chelsea. Now, he might be out of a job. We hope that's not the case. We don't wish anyone unemployment. Jesus. But he is also the assistant manager of Portugal as well, part-time. Johnny Unitas, I have to apologise, lads. I'm arriving late to the chat, but is it too far from the truth in saying Evan Ferguson isn't really that good?
Just on that, because we can see, sorry, just to kind of come in on that one, because I can see, obviously, there's lots of comments coming through, and some people make a point, and then they kind of carry on a little bit. Yeah, I remember. And now afterwards, he's gone down a few more comments. He's on a bad run, but I think the Irish media, including yourselves, have blown him up beyond all potential. Modern day Niall Quinn at best. Jesus, that's harsh on Niall Quinn, isn't it? No, is for me. He is the real deal. He's going to be brilliant for us.
Yeah, he's
a young lad. He's so young, and he's got to develop. 19. He's got to go off the boil. You've got to just give him time.
And he's at a very good club at Brighton, but he's not at a
Yeah.
tippy top club. They're also, you have to remember, Brighton are also going to go off the boil as well, which they have. Now they're back. I mean, Sheffield United are rubbish, and he had a man sent off in the 10th minute. But you know, he's a young lad. He's 19, and yeah, we have hyped him up a little bit. But you know, I've watched him. I think he's the real deal.
He's
We
the
all
most
think
promising Irish footballer in many years, right? Without a doubt.
that's a world class
Okay.
Robbie Keane.
No, he is the most promising Irish player for many, many years, right? So, you know, you forget Obafemi and all, like anyone else, just think of coming through with strikers and stuff. This guy's the most promising, I think. And he's exciting. And like when you've got Premier League legend strikers like Shearer saying, I've watched him and they're going on about how good he is, I think I'd rather judge
Ian
him
Wright as well.
on their views rather than, you know, also what I see and stuff. Like, no, yeah, he's definitely the real deal.
100%.
It's going to take time.
Keep moving it. Shane Brown. If not Carsley, I could stomach Coleman. A Carsley appointment restores faith in the FAI. Anything else is a real disappointing ending to the process, regardless of who gets it. Felix Unger, $250,000. Unbelievable. That's basically what they're short in the budgetary requirements that we believe, that's been reported anyway, for Lee Carsley and his staff. That's, yeah, and that's what they reckon is why he's not going to take the job. Blue and gold, letter GAA run the FAI. Well, it's completely apples and oranges there, but
if they can attract investment like they did with JP McManus, giving every county board €1 million, they're doing something right. But I mean, that's where again I would go back to the FA being a damaged kind of product. We're not attracting big business investments in it. We don't have a super fan who's a multi-millionaire who's throwing money into it, which, you know, we've got multi-millionaires in Ireland. Get your mates from you too to put a bit into it.
Do you know what, though? Like, Ireland's a wealthy country. It's one of the most cash-rich countries in the world. And it is, right? It's got its problems, but it is. People have money, and there's a lot of billionaires and millionaires. And it's just amazing me that someone like Bono or Paul McGuinness, who loves adventure, they were going to get involved with Wimbledon back in 95, I believe, when they were going to be the Dublin Dons. But for whatever reason, it just astounds me that nobody's got involved, like a Michael O'Leary or Ryan. Somebody, like, you know, the country's cooking. Do you know what I mean? There's stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know.
I mean, look, 250 grand is nothing. What is it for a 3-year Robbie Keane contract?
I know, but then we're one Robbie Keane.
You get a world class coach.
We're a Robbie Keane short for Lee Carsley. We're one Robbie Keane short of a Lee Carsley. There you go. And that's a t-shirt. Joseph Lennon, lads, we have 4 STs. No matter who's managing, I'm up season tickets. No matter who's managing, I'm renewing. Back our country to the hilt in the hope the good times return. Good man, Joseph. Absolutely. Look, I know I get media passes, although probably after this one I won't. But I still have a season ticket. I still still have mine because I love the Irish football team. Jude Clancy, there was no guarantee Carsley would be a success. In Dutch Van der Lin's world, have some goddamn faith. True. But did I have somebody who like managed Hebei China Fortune? Like, you know, sorry. I know somebody mentioned about how Jack was he was a black sheep, wasn't he, when he kind of came out of nowhere and got the job in 86. However, he was involved with Newcastle until September the previous year, and he was put in charge on February 7th, 1986. So, you know, he was still involved. This guy hasn't been involved with a top job for 6 years, or even a top flight job in 6 years. Not even a tippy top. Well, actually, no. I mean, Sunderland were in League One, weren't they? They weren't even in the Championship. Or were they in the Championship at the time?
I'm not sure.
I think the Championship got relegated. Anyway, we're moving on. Getting through the rest of your comments. Keep them coming in, guys. We will get to them. Joseph Lennon, I definitely have Bradley and Duff over Coleman, as I feel they match Canham's head coach role description more than anyone mentioned after Carsley. Felix Unger, please say it's not Coleman, even if it is. Felix still processing. Ivan Yallop, I really don't understand the FAI's thinking here. The longer this process has gone on and the more desperate the FAI become, I really think they've made a rash appointment, unfortunately. It's not been made yet. Just got something coming in.
I think we have to get that context back there, though. You know, like I think we've got to give them a lot of credit. I think they've kept it really quiet. I mean, everyone's just desperate for the answers, isn't they? And that's why it's driving us all nuts. We chat every day about it, Dave. We just want a kind of bit of closure on it, and we want to then kind of change the kind of narrative of now we're excited and looking for the March games and who's he going to pick in the squad. It's just dragged on so long. We just want that to happen, and I think they've done really well in keeping it so quiet, and even no one seems to know. And then you've got a leak and conjecture from someone else, and McAteer's mates with everybody, isn't he? And he's telling us all what they've been told, and Kilbannon's doing a piece. So you have all that happening. I don't think it's desperation for the FAI. They could turn around if they did appoint Coleman. They could go, he was our first choice. They could say all this rubbish. It was all rubbish, Carsley. Like Carsley told us 2 months ago, he wasn't interested. They can give it what they want, can't they? The spiel of it. And it's only if they upset someone that you'll have Neil Lennon. They've got to be respectful, of course, as well. Like Neil Lennon will say, "Yep, they've spoken to me, and look, I didn't get the job." That's how we'll know Neil Lennon wasn't involved. Carsley then might come out and go, I was never going to move from the under-21s. I've got a great job here. That's what we're going to have. So the FAI have been very well done. Frustratingly, they've done very well on this. But if it's about the money, it's pissing us all off, let's be honest. If we can't get the person we believe is the number one target because of money.
100%. Felix Unger, under-21 doesn't compare to being the actual Ireland manager. Very true. It's. By the way, Lee Carsley, if he does get it, it's a risk.
Massive pressure.
It's a risk. It's a massive pressure. It's a total risk. But you know what? Everything's a bloody risk. So you got to roll the dice sometimes. Your bravery will be rewarded, we hope. Ronan Coogan, how you doing, Ronan? Truth is, with our budget and reduced status these days, we're never getting world-class coach. Let's get behind whoever it is. Getting sick of negativity on Twitter. Twitter is just a cesspit at the moment.
Violence.
Anyway. Oh, it's horrendous. Stephen Ring. There's so many bigger names out there who are free that they could pick. Joachim Lowe, Hansi Flick, Oli Solskjaer. Don't get Bill started. Bill and Irish football blogs. Laurent Blanc, Graham Potter. But no, it's looking like a failed Sunderland manager.
They're not going to afford any of them.
No. Couldn't even afford probably the pair of shoes. Martin Fitzpatrick. At this stage, I'm willing to give anyone the job. Jack was first choice. Bob Paisley was first choice.
Jack wasn't first choice, I think he's saying.
Actually, Billy McNeil was first choice by the FAI, funny enough. And I know that because we're covering this particular thing, aren't we, Martin? We have a little project going on. More on that in the months coming up. But it was actually Billy McNeil. He was Man City manager, and he wanted it on a part-time basis because it was a part-time job. And they wouldn't let him do it. The board wouldn't let him do it. And then all of a sudden, it was Jack, Toohey, Giles, and then Des Casey came in with Bob Paisley. Like, ta-da, I've got Bob Paisley. And they went mental because they didn't actually run it past them. And out of spite, Jack Charlton got that job completely out of spite. I mean, he did brilliantly, but that's how it actually happened. Anyway, Dave McGuinness, how you doing, David? Haven't heard from you for a bit. The short list keeps getting shorter and more depressing. John Diamond, I would take Gary Coleman over Chris. Jesus. Shay Martin, the thing about Coleman is he has a big personality which could give the players a lift. True. They've had a bad run of results, heads down. He could give them a lift. Keep it simple with tactics. That's true. Listen, we could be saying all of this about Chris Coleman, and he could turn out to be Jack Charlton 2.0. I doubt it, but you don't know. And you know what, Martin? If he is, we'll be the first ones to come on here and say we got it wrong. Absolutely got it wrong. We hope we are wrong. We hope whoever comes in is brilliant. Go on, Mark. What were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying. Even this Coleman stuff might just all be kind of further. It could just be that he's confirmed that he had a chat about it, and actually he's just saying that's all we're reporting, really. Is he being offered? Yeah, and his son could be on the biggest wind up ever, just going, well, what do you want as Irish fans?
Classic, wasn't it?
Probably smart and pissed off that his dad isn't getting it, and it could just be that. It's just gone a bit.
We don't know.
Nuts, isn't it?
We don't know.
It's quite funny.
We're checking. We are checking our phones. We are checking for updates. We're checking WhatsApp. We're checking Twitter just to see if something's come out. Because I think it will be over the next couple of days. It's all very exciting. Alfie Connolly, how you doing, Alfie? Any using Lee Carsley? No, none. I think it's just budget. If they can meet his budget, If they can meet his budget, here's an article. Connor McAvoy from Republic of Ireland Tracker, by the way, has sent, just chatting away to him here. He sent me an article. I'm not sure it's from the Examiner, but it's about Lee Carsley. Whether the parties compromise on a deal in the coming days remains to be seen, but the revised timeline is to have a head coach installed by the end of February with a view to selecting a squad for the home doubleheader friendly against Belgium and Switzerland March 23rd and 26th. Carsley, who won 40 caps between 96 and 2008, yada, 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 has long been interested in the vacancy but wants himself in the backroom team. He's proposed to be valued in both salary and budget to optimise the squad he deems capable of reviving the country's fortune. And then they comment, whoever wrote this, Coleman's appointment, should it materialise, is unlikely to be similarly embraced by Ireland's fan base. So that's the latest we have right there on the Lee Carsley situation. It's money. It is simply money, Alfie. Rory, comments coming in, guys. Keep them coming in. We'll get to them. We'll stay on here until we get to them. Although I'll tell you what, if Lee Carsley or if the manager is announced tonight whilst we're on, I will have to go to the toilet. You might hear a filling noise underneath the desk, Martin. Don't get alarmed. Rory would love a Lee Carsley, Stephen Reid, John O'Shea coaching ticket. I think we all would. John Murphy. Coleman is a good choice. He is a risk, of course, but at this stage, beggars can't be choosers. He has an impressive international experience. Lennon has failed every level, and Carsley is a youth coach. So John Murphy is an ally of Chris Coleman. Please, no Coleman, says Alfie. And there's a few bits and pieces going back and forth. Oh, here, Felix Unger. Now, this is where he's got your number, Martin. I love it. In response to your comment about Robbie Keane being world class, Felix Unger. Robbie didn't cut at Liverpool or Inter.
I think actually Inter made him a better player than he was probably going to be, having that experience out there, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And he wasn't out there long. And look who he was playing with and competing with for a starting position in that particular team. Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo. Liverpool didn't want him. It was never going to work out there. He wasn't the signing that Liverpool wanted at that time. The manager didn't want him and called him in. I mean, that's, again, I know I keep bringing you over to Gary Neville's soccer box, but, you know, when Robbie's being dragged in after scoring a goal and then Benitez has shown him what he doesn't do, you know, he's never going to do what Benitez thought he was going to do for him. It's not how he plays. And I think if you actually look back at Robbie playing for Ireland and when he had that real successful run, scoring lots of goals for us, it was when we played him higher up and he didn't have to come deep and looking for the ball. And when he played higher up, he had a great goal scoring record, even more so in that particular campaign. Right. So I think he just doesn't get rated enough. He doesn't get rated high enough. I think he would be the lowest part of. He's just on the.
That's not world class, then, is it?
No, he is world class. He is.
I'd have it. Get on out of that, you. Yeah, get on out of that. Yeah, that Houlihan jersey is making you giving you those green tinted eyes. Speaking of which, you see, he signed. Who did he sign for? Wes Houlihan?
Doncaster, wasn't it?
Doncaster City, like not Doncaster Rovers, but like there's a few of them there. They're doing well.
Yeah.
Peter Smith, shouldn't world class get you into one of the top 20 to 30 top teams in the world? Liverpool, number one. There you go. David, although he didn't do well. David Begley, we've only ever had 4 world class players, says David Begley. Giles, Brady, Roy, and McGrath. I disagree with that. Ronnie Whelan, Mark Lawrenson, Dennis Irwin.
I'm not having that. But
you're not having Dennis Irwin?
No.
You don't think Dennis Irwin was world class?
No. I think probably just because of the position where he played. I don't think he would have been as highly rated as a world class. Like no one's coming in to buy him, would they? As like a top.
Yeah, but where was he going to go?
Left, right back. I know he was at the best team in the world at the time, wasn't he? So thanks.
No, to be fair, like I'll joke with it was.
Yeah. So and I love the actual fact that Ferguson often said he was the one. He was his first name on the team sheet, wasn't he?
No, he was.
I just think again, vastly underrated. No, just vastly underrated.
Robbie Keane's world class, but Dennis Irwin isn't. All right.
I just think, I'll go for it. I just think the international record is a ridiculous amount of goals to score, and for Ireland, a relatively small nation as well. So,
okay. Yeah, but he did play like 146 games. You know, no, I'm not disputing. I mean, the record before that was what 19 goals.
I agree completely. Giles, Brady, Roy, and McGrath definitely.
Yeah, Ronnie Whelan.
No,
Mark Lawrenson.
No.
Why wouldn't Ronnie Whelan be world class? And then, in fact, he's a Liverpool player, and you're
No,
tribalistic.
I don't know.
Oh, Jesus
think
Christ! So. Getting off this before I tell you what, you keep it up, we're going to be looking for a replacement for you, pal. Jesus. Robbie Keane's world class, but Ronnie Whelan isn't. Would you ever? You're winding me up. I'm not having you, Prendy.
You up.
Prendy M. Send all your hate tweets to Prendy M. Winding me fucking up. I'm not having that. Alfie Connolly, he also said the British Derby. He did. Chris Coleman, he did. I saw that clip today on Sky Sport or Twitter. Rory would love Carsey as manager, Stephen Reid, John O'Shea as the assistants. A fresh feel to that coaching ticket.
And I think Andy Reid as well. I'd like to see Andy Reid after tonight's show. I'd really love to see Andy Reid back involved with Irish football as well.
Yeah, maybe have a word.
I would like to see Andy Reid.
Again, we never said anything bad about Andy.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, come through the pathway. He's definitely I think. Well, in all seriousness, when we're talking about
highly
come from that pathway, he was with the under 18s, under 21s. He knows them all. He knows all that generation of players. He'd be a key one to get involved now with it because he gave up that job for Forest.
Sorry, I just saw something there. I have any up. No, absolutely. John, more managers. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Stephen Ring, more managers that wouldn't cause compensation are Jose, Julian Lopetegui, who's at Wolves, and Antonio Conte. I know money is an issue for the FAI, but there's some managers that the FAI should do all he can to get. Eddie Jordan, we talked about it last week. Eddie Jordan wants a benefactor. Ain't going to take us, but...
They also want a manager, though. They want a manager, don't they, who's not going to get pinched, who's not going to be offered like $1 million, a couple of million, to go to a championship club. They don't want that. They don't want that situation with Martin O'Neill. So, Coleman, you could easily say, you've had international experience. You did very well. You know what the job entails. You have a target. You've got to qualify us for this, and then you're going to get this other campaign. You know the job and what it entails. Yeah. So would that suit you in your time of life and what's going on in your family? And he could go, yeah, that's why it's attractive.
Fair. John Murphy, Ferguson can be Coleman's bail with Wales. Yeah, but you also had Allen. You also had...
We've got Michael Johnson. We've got Ogbene.
So, Robbie Keane's world class. Dennis Irwin isn't. Ronnie Whelan isn't.
They don't go. It's not the same argument. Don't go to the same argument. I'm not...
Josh Cullen.
I'm joking with that.
Aaron fucking Ramsey.
I'm saying that you can't say we've not got good attacking players coming through. Like we haven't got good players coming through because we have.
I think we need to have a. I think we need to have
a seriously good goalkeeper. You're not worried about a goalkeeper. The midfield is the weakest point in Ireland at the moment. That's our weakest.
Well, we got Cousin Will, but he's probably a couple of years from.
Yeah, but he's going to be learning on the job, isn't he? That's the thing. Yeah. Cousin Will's there, right? Cullen will just be a holding midfielder. We don't know if he's going to be the real deal, and good enough for that, right? But then look, people slagged off and ruled out Glenn Whelan for ages, and when Glenn Whelan retires or is retired, then they're begging for, how good he was, and we need someone like that in there again. You forget how good people are sometimes when they're asked to do a specific job. But Bene is an exciting player, Obafemi is an exciting player, and Mikey Johnson, exciting players.
It's not a bad team.
There is there,
yeah. No, I agree there. Damien Casey bringing Fat Sam. Damien, he's largely framed. It's quite. When I actually saw Sam Allardyce, he was actually quite thin. He's just a big guy. Actually, I've seen him in person. He's really he's a big guy. Like, he's actually not overweight.
Big Sam, isn't it?
He's
Big Sam is called.
Yeah. Ivan Yallop, I've listened to your pods, but first time watching. I'm a Kinnegad. Great show, lads. Ivan, absolutely delighted that you're watching. Sorry, I looked, that caught my eye because I got the messages up here. I know Kinnegad very, very well. So yeah, I'm glad you love watching us as well.
And make sure you subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe, guys. Please hit the subscribe button if you want. We do this every Sunday, most Sundays anyway. If there's a change, we will let you know. We do state of plays. We do loads of videos. So hit a subscribe. The subscribe button on the YouTube channel, greatly appreciated. And Nurik, what's happened to Nick? Surely he still doesn't have audio issues. Celtic fans. He loved his Celtic fans last week, Nick, didn't he?
He did.
He really did. Kevin Christie, great shout to wait rather than make a bollocks of it and rush it for no reason. Would take Moyes no bother, says Kevin Christie. I thought he meant us because we were late coming on, but he meant the FBI. That was you've plus net to thank for that. They weren't doing me proud tonight. Bastards. Keanu 720. So if Robbie's not, then who are the other world class players, Irish players through the 90s to now? Well, okay, Ronnie Whelan probably wasn't world class in the 90s because his injuries, but 80s he was. Dennis Irwin, Roy Keane, obviously.
Damien Duff was close to it.
He did it for me. Damien Duff was for a couple of years. Those couple of years he was brilliant at Blackburn. He probably was actually Blackburn. His final season, he was outstanding, and he was doing it for Ireland at the time. And then those couple of years with Robin, 3 years at Chelsea, was phenomenal.
Really good.
But then he just went off the boil. To keep, it goes to show you, like, to be world class, man, you got to keep doing it. And he did it for a few years. He was really close. I don't think there was really anyone in the 90s. Now, obviously, Paul McGrath, but like he was 80s, Liam Brady, 70s, 80s, 90s onwards. I think Shay Gibbon was world class.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Definitely for a few years, I think he could have been classed as it, yeah.
I always thought he was world class. Germany in 2006, Steve Staunton's first competitive game. If you can watch that game, go back. I actually have the highlights somewhere on Facebook. Go back and watch that game. He was phenomenal. Even during the Brian Keir, take your pick. They're both doomed. Although he did make his first mistake in the first Brian Kerr, the Switzerland game, the 2-0 loss in Basel. But the next campaign, he was phenomenal. Shay Gibbon. What for me, world class. I would struggle, to be fair, for any more. But we had a lot of good players, a lot of really good players. We'll move it on. Great question, though, Ken. I love that. I love when you just throw in a little curveball like that, puts us on the spot. It's great. Joseph Lennon, I like Martin's thoughts. There, I'm waiting until after the Euros with O'Shea in there temporarily. Wouldn't mind Moyes at all, but doubt we could afford him, unfortunately. Second comment in the excellent podcast. Keep them coming, lads. The regular content on a national team is indeed. Thank you very much, Joseph. Second comment in the excellent podcast. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. We have some fans still. The other happy ones. But yeah, thank you very much. And please do hit that subscribe button. Peter Smith, well, let's crack on. We've still got loads of comments to get through. We'll try and get through them all. Keep them coming in. Rogers will be available soon. He'd give us character. Peter Smith. He'd give oxygen as well to the players, wouldn't he? Really good coach. Rogers just a bit mad as a box of frogs. Bree McLaughlin, think if Celtic go second to Rangers, would Brendan Rodgers be available in the summer? I'd have him. I think he's a top coach, but there's no way in hell we'd be able to afford him.
Yeah, I'd have him. I like Rodgers.
Oh, he's a quality coach. Stephen Ring, we need a Heyman Dunphy back in RT. When the FAI wanted Terry Venables, he kicked off in a big way, and a few weeks later, the FAI got Trapattoni. That's actually really true. If you're a younger listener, you probably wouldn't remember that. He went on a rampant. Now, Terry obviously has passed, so we don't want to be disrespectful to Terry Venables. He was a very good manager, Terry Venables. I think he won.
I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this.
What?
No, I can't wait for you. How are you going to summarize this?
No. What I'm going to say is that Terry Venables was an excellent manager in the 80s. He's very good in the 90s, but he was passé. He was past it. He was Steve McLaren's assistant coach around that time. They failed to qualify before 2008, and he made some very good points about Terry Venables. And he was right. Why would we be going after him at that stage of his career? Terry Venables in the 90s, very, very good manager. But
England's best ever manager, without a doubt.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Better than Ramsey?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've heard
very hard to compare that, though, to be fair.
He's only around for the tournament.
Yeah, but I think he was like different time of football as well, all gentleman and all that, wasn't it? But definitely man management, Terry Venables, so vastly underrated. Like, went to Barcelona, won La Liga. Ridiculous. Like,
he was a good manager.
But he would have been so distracted. Like, at that time in his life, he was so distracted, and that's the risk with these kind of managers. Like, I'm not saying Coleman's got his, he's off doing lots of other stuff. Like, the one good thing I'd say is you don't see Coleman on Sky every week hawking himself around for a job. I don't think so. Anyway, I can't remember him being on it. Well, no, because Roy, we know, is happy in that kind of environment now, but you don't see, Coleman on everything and going, oh, and whereas with respect to Lennon, he's on TV every week, isn't he? And, when the Ireland job's announced and it's not Lennon will be in the mix now for every other job coming until he gets one. Because that's what he wants to do. Whereas Coleman's not doing that.
And he did say, Lennon, as well, that the FAI were very diligent and respectful and professional. Well, of course you would, because you're waiting for a response. Right? Yeah. Although I think the FAI have dealt with this very well. Okay, it's taken longer, but as I said, if they come out with Carsley, and it's worth the wait, and fair play to them. If they don't, and they come out with somebody who's not as satisfactory, like a Coleman, or, well, it won't be Lennon, but some of that ilk, then, oh boy. John Murphy, excuse me. I want Carsley just as much as anyone else, but he clearly doesn't want the job. A man with 40 caps should leave England on the 21s in a heartbeat. I get the Coleman appointment. It's the best we can do. I don't think it's that he doesn't want it, John. I just think there's a lot of bad blood between Carsley and the FAI. Now, obviously, this is a different FAI than the one that Carsley was under. But I think even Kevin Kilban wrote about it in his Sunday Times article, that there's still a bad taste in the mouth there from the old FAI with Delaney and that kind of thing. And I think he just wants to make... I think, I'll say it, I just think he wants to make sure the FAI aren't taking the piss out of him. I think that's what it is. And the rest of the guys. And maybe he's drawing a line in the sand. I don't know. We don't have inside information on this. We're not pretending that we do. But I don't think it's that he doesn't want it. I think he just wants it under the right conditions. And he wants, he just doesn't want to have the piss taken out of him. I'm not saying that the FAI are, but maybe in his mind, because he's still, he was there in the 90s, and he was there with Stan and Delaney and everything. Felix Unger, fair play, guys. Thank you, Felix. Appreciate that. Damien Casey, how many managers have Everton gone through? There must be loads looking for work. Well, one of them was Carlo Ancelotti. Good luck with that. The other one is manager of Portugal. The other one's manager of Holland. The other one's manager of Fulham. I'm on a roll here. The other one's Frank Lampard. We don't want him. The other one's Rafa Benitez. We can't afford him, and I don't think I'd want him anyway. So yeah, I think that kind of answers that. There you go, Damien. Reem McLaughlin, Celtic fans. Do you reckon we should get a t-shirt made for Nick?
Jesus, yeah.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, go back on the last live. It's in the archives there, and you'll see what we're talking about. Poor Nick. I mean, to be fair, there's nothing he could have done about that. It's just... I mean, it's like my internet going before we started. United Real Talk. Nothing against Dublin. I bloody well hope not. I should be naming FAI instead. What young up-and-coming Irish player would not be motivated more than sharing a dressing room than a Premier League's top captain? Oh, yeah. Roy Keane. Okay. Not the non-world-class Dennis Irwin. Martin said it. Send your hate tweets to, where is it? Apprendi M.
Yeah.
Dennis Irwin. Felix,
I don't know what that's about. This is probably about something I said about 20 minutes ago. Just to get the context of this, we can see the times of the thing.
Dennis Irwin. Very strange opinions. I disagree, Martin. Totally. No. Let's. Hold on a sec, Martin. Let Felix have his say.
No, I just don't know. Is that what? Did
I disagree with Martin totally, says Felix Unger. Then he says very strange opinions. I absolutely agree with you, dear Felix. Very strange opinions indeed. And just to say that he disagrees with Martin, and he has very strange opinions. Very strange opinions. Robert Dugan. How you doing, Robert? Surely the Revolut sponsor money would cover that 250k. That's a really good point. We haven't spoken about that. If you're to believe what you read, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, because Carsey was in the bag, then it was Lennon, now it's Coleman. God knows where it'll be. Apparently, they do have the Revolut sponsorship lined up. It's going to be a 4-year deal, I believe, or a 3-year deal. But, maybe they can't budget for it yet.
Yeah, like, what is it? 250 grand? What is it? It's 10% of the extra we paid to Jonathan Hill that time. Couldn't we just check a few other bank accounts and see if there's any other mistakes made?
Good thing I have that season ticket, lads. There no more lanyards. Mark Doyle. I think Coleman would be a good appointment. Not much else out there. Really, West Coaster. If this is all about the FAI refusing to offer Carsley a further 250 grand, it will be a catastrophe. Tom Ryan. All betting has been suspended in the last hour or so. Oh dear. Martin, you are checking the L in case there's an announcement.
I am.
Please do. Blue and gold. Off topic. FAI Youth Cup today. Carrick United. We lost 2-0 to Peamount. The officials were 100% on the ball. At least something is working at grassroots. Great podcast, lads. Thank you very much, Blue and Gold. Sorry you guys lost today. United Real Talk. Let's remember Roy Keane played under the two greatest managers in the history of Premier League, Brian Clough and Alex Ferguson. FAI are only fooling themselves throwing about other names. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe in the first division, probably not Premier League, but his first season in Premier League got relegated, Brian Clough. Just saying. Stephen Ring, Dave Bono doesn't even pay tax in Ireland. Why would he put money into our football team? Well, he actually does, Stephen. It's the publishing that he doesn't pay tax on. Just saying. That's in Amsterdam. So he does pay tax. I'm not a apologist. And I know somebody's probably going to watch this and fucking throw his laptop off the floor, but no, let's just correct that one there, Martin. Joseph Lennon, Collison Brothers, as well as billionaire like and haven't done much aside of period property restoration, says Joseph Lennon. Yeah, it just straight baffles me that somebody wouldn't want to get involved in that, especially now the League of Ireland. It's alive. It needs stadiums. We don't need customers for football in this country or in Ireland. We need a shop floor, a suitable shop floor to put them in.
Even like Aer Lingus, Ryanair, like
Guinness.
Like
Ryanair, biggest
madness. Ryanair, like
biggest airline in Europe.
Ryanair, Ireland, right? Ireland sponsor, and then just say if you're traveling to an island for island season tickets, 5% off. It'd be nothing, or 10% off. You know, it's just that they get you on the baggage anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's just, but imagine that would be because everyone kind of hates them, so you could have it all over the shirts and everywhere. Well, we don't want on the shirts, but imagine people would probably boycott the stuff. Perhaps that's why. But still, it'd be quite funny because it'd be.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. It'd be great. It'd be great crack. It'd be great crack. You get all the ex-players in and the money and the strength of Ryanair behind you. Robbie Bonfield.
But we don't really want betting, I suppose. Paddy Power, I suppose. No. Not a thing. But Guinness for me. It'd be so cool. I think just
yeah. Guinness, 100%.
Lovely harp, beautiful.
Stop! You make me thirsty. Can't wait for my pint of Guinness. Actually, Guinness Zero in Dublin in March. Yeah, I love that. You know, match day. Just sit there, newspaper, read a bit of Dunphy. Perfect. Ronnie Bunfield, Neil Lennon won a lot with Celtic and brought them to the last 16 at Champions League. The negativity about Lennon is way over the top. Many slagging him off don't even know his past CV. No, the first iteration, I wrote an article about this, Robbie. You're not targeting me, but just to give a bit of context. Yep, he did very well. Won a treble. Did he win like 2 trebles or something like that? Or he won a treble with Celtic. He did really well with his first iteration. I can't remember. He left to go to Bolton because they kept selling his players and they wouldn't let him reinvest because he knew, look, I've cracked the domestic league. Correct me if I'm wrong now, Robbie, but he's cracked the domestic league, but he wanted a challenge in Europe and they just kept selling his best players. So he got sick of it and he went to Bolton. Didn't work out from Bolton. His second iteration, he took over from Rodgers. To be fair, it was a winning team. He went to Leicester. But then after that, he left under a cloud. So, look, he did well, but that was a long time ago. Just looking there, we have an angry reaction there on Facebook, but that was a long time ago. But I get what you're saying. The real talk. Jack Charlton was a failure as Irish manager, in my opinion. Wow, some opinions coming out there. Depends what your idea of success is, really. Grid One, please know Chris Coleman. How you doing, Grid One on YouTube? William Wallace on YouTube as well. If Lee Carty was the manager of the Irish team, the fans would still moan and cry either way. If Pep Guardiola was manager of the Irish team, there'd be still people moaning about it. Martin be probably giving out about it. He's saying he's not world class. Stephen Ring, Harvey Renard, Nick's mate, wouldn't break the bank to buy him out of the French women's job and would be miles ahead of Coleman. Nick, that's what Nick was after, wasn't he? Harvey Renard. He really wanted him in. He was a French women's manager. Now he's off there, but not going to happen. Jutski says Coleman will move to Ireland. That was one of the reported requirements. I'm still thinking it's Pardew. I'm perplexed by that comment. By the way, so Coleman will move to Ireland.
No.
But what I'm saying that's a good point. That's a really good point. That was one of the requisites, wasn't it? You have to move to Ireland.
That won't happen. That can't be requisite. It's ridiculous. I think that's bullshit, to be honest. And I think it's ridiculous to even call it that. All it means is that there's loads of travelling involved because they will want you over there shaking hands with the League of Ireland people and the leagues and everything like that. They want you doing that kind of stuff, being on the ground as a figurehead of Irish football. to some respects. You don't have to live there. That's ridiculous. Jonathan Hill don't live there. How they can put that as a thing? I know that. No, but like how you can say you've got to do this. That's absolutely shite, isn't it?
But he reckons though it could be Chunky Pardew. That's a name. That I mean, you never know. Chunky Pardew, no. Remember saw him in it's like Drury Lane, was it? Chunky Pardew.
What, Alan Pardew?
Yeah, that's what they call him, Chunky, isn't it?
Oh, did I? I don't know.
Yeah, Chunky Pardew. I think
he loves himself, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that's why it probably tells everyone call me Chunky.
Yeah, chocolate. Loves himself. That's it.
He's ice cream. He'd eat himself. Felix Unger. Why did Inter get rid? And why did Liverpool buy him if they didn't want him? Robbie Keane. I'll answer that question. Peter Smith says he didn't make it Liverpool, and to be fair, Rafa didn't rate him. Pardew. Rick Parry, sorry, he's now in the head of the Football League. One of the architects of the Premier League, funny enough, when it came up in '92. He bought him, but Rafa didn't want him. So Liverpool bought him, and he didn't want him. So he basically made Robbie Keane suffer, pretty much.
And how old was he at Inter? Like, you think that was
a
no-brainer to go there? Yeah, he was so young. Yeah, he went from Coventry, didn't he?
And
where did he go, from Wolves or Coventry?
Coventry. Wolves to Coventry, Coventry to Inter Milan.
Yeah, Coventry had to sell him because they got stupid money offered, and he was the up and coming young striker in European football.
Got 2 great goals in his debut for Coventry, I think, didn't he? Under Gordon Strachan. John Diamond. Any former professionals players involved in the appointment process? I heard Packy Bonner's name mentioned a couple of times. It's just him. He's on the board.
He's on the board, yeah.
Yeah. Martin's mate. Hold on. There you go.
With some other directors, obviously. We have a board, don't we? Do we want to go there? A very representative board. I looked up a few of them. I mean, like, on a board of Tesco's on this. But that's just, you have to. That's just what it is. They don't have to be football people to be on a board where you're asking the government to give you funding.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's ridiculous because it's just not trusted to have football people on the board. That's ridiculous. That's the shit show the FAI are in, to be fair.
Well, don't.
And how they're going to undo that, you never know.
Okay, Felix started again. The 2 women power. We're gonna get Felix.
No, a few. I'd say there's a couple. I do know a few people on it, and they are football people, and they have a good understanding of football.
Fair. We're going to try and plow through. There's loads of comments coming in, so we're going to try and plow through these. John Murphy, if we don't get Carsey, does he go into a similar category to Rice and Grealish? A real Irishman wouldn't want the opportunity to turn our fortunes around. It is a massive job. Yet again, I think it's just bad blood, John, with the FAI. I don't think it's anything to do with Irishness. The real talk. Ireland had best defence in the world under Charlton. Paul McGrath, Kevin Moran, Irwin, Lawrenson, Keane, Whelan, Robbie Keane, Damien Duff, John Aldrich, world-class team. Well, actually, Ronnie's in there. He's not world class, according to Martin. Dennis isn't. That actually was a world class team. Check out our team.
Aldridge wasn't world class.
But he broke the record in the Premier League. He wasn't able to play in Europe because the ban. Don't you?
Another myth.
Martin. Anyway, Damien Casey, was Didi Hamann ever considered? Don't think so.
Oh, Jesus.
Mr. Pendable, a Rolls Royce player, if he was around nowadays, would be in high demand. After all, Dennis Irwin. After all, he possessed many qualities for a defensive player. He could attack as well as defend and became known for his free kicks and penalties. The man was indeed world class. Good man, John. You give it to Martin. I'm seeing you tomorrow, Martin. I'm going to punch you in the bollocks. For all of you. Hiya, Martin. Bang. No, we're not a violent podcast. We're lovers, Martin. No, we're not actually lovers. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Your man listens to this podcast. Fucking hell. How you, Mrs. Prendergast? Hope you're well.
She used to watch it. She doesn't watch anymore.
No, probably because of your swearing.
But she's one of our subscribers, so fair play to her.
So hit the subscribe button. Shane Martin, would anyone have taken or been happy with Steve Clark before he got the Scotland gig? Probably if he got the gig, I think people would have been giving out yards about it. But he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Felix Unger, Lawrence was absolutely world class. Yes, he was absolutely world class. Could play anywhere on the pitch. And he won 2 European Cups. 2, was it? Yeah, 2 European Cups, 81 and 84. Do you live in Ireland, Martin? Because it says Risk London. Oh.
Well, no, my Twitter handle's Riz London, yeah. And
Oh. Martin
no, I
doesn't
live
live
in
in
London. I do
Martin
live in
doesn't
London.
Martin doesn't live in Ireland.
I live in London. I'm a club chairman of Riz London.
Yeah. Rear Admiral of Club London. Why is Felix on Facebook and YouTube? Anyway, no, he lives in London, and so do I. Actually, John Diamond, Miss. That's a repeat. Stephen Ring, you say we won't get the managers I named because there's a chance another team might want them, but nobody seems to want Coleman apart from the FAI, which is a bit worrying. Robert Duggan, right, I'm over the shock now. I'll get behind Coleman, but I'm going to complain about it the whole time. I think we all are, really. Until if he does the business over in England in September, we'll love him. Daniel Granahan, Damien Duff was world class too. Yeah, for a couple of years. I think we said that for a couple of years. Then when he went to Newcastle,
when he played in Europe, Champions League, Chelsea was brilliant.
Him and Robin tore Barcelona apart. Stephen King, before he broke his leg, Seamus Coleman was on form to be the best right back in the world. I agree. That's a very good shout, but he didn't make it, unfortunately. But yeah, that totally agree.
Stephen Carr could have been as well.
Yeah. Broken leg again. He was well on course to be world class. Stephen O'Rourke, I think Chris Coleman is the right choice out of the candidates that we had, or Roy Keane, says Stephen O'Rourke. Stephen Ring, the one worry about waiting until after the Euros is that the new manager will have no warm-up matches before Nations League. I'm just going to check something. Perfect. Peter Smith, maybe if we get Chris Coleman and Olivia Coleman, we'd at least get a good documentary. Good man. Alan O'Donovan. Shay Given never came off his line. Excuse me. Shay Given never came off his line. He never controlled the box. That I agree with, actually. That is, do you know what? That is actually, Martin, I read, apparently Wenger and Ferguson never went out to Shay Given because he never controlled his box. That was one weakness he had.
But he was linked with Arsenal. He did say that to couple of weeks ago.
I think that's why. If you look at the goalkeepers that Wenger had, they always had big personalities, and Lehmann and all that. He liked big personality. Still, though, Shay Given was superb. We should hold off appointing someone until West Ham sack Moyes, says David Begley. A lot of calls for Moyes here. Stephen Ring, Rogers is a great shout. Maybe Dermot Desmond would back his wages. Interesting. Jack in the Box, what do you think about Ireland potentially getting players like Dewsbury Hall, McAteer, and Liam Delap switching allegiance from England? Well, McAteer, we don't know what's happened there. The Leicester guy, I don't know, is that on ice because of what happened with Kenny? He's a very handy player. Liam Delap has so much ability. I think he's still at Man City, but he's on loan. I don't know enough about Dewsbury Hall. Before Nick is the one really to answer that one. Jack in the Box is a great question. Nick, if you're watching, comment. John Diamond, you put Venables ahead of Bobby Robson. Seriously? Oh, Martin.
Yeah, I would do. Yeah, I would do.
Wow.
Yeah, I would do.
Well, I suppose Bobby Robson had a disastrous.
Bobby Robson, like England should have won that World Cup and they didn't. And I know you could probably say Venables should have won Euro '96 and they didn't. But I think Venables was excellent, like tactically and everything. You know, going over to Spain and things like, and revered as a world-class coach at that time. You know, to go from where he did to Barcelona, and then with England came very, very close to it. Robson had already 1990 his best performance with England. He was gone out the job before even went to that World Cup.
He was a manager.
He was even, wasn't he?
They didn't qualify for Euro '84, did they? And that's why Robson got the job. He was Ipswich manager. Robson.
Ron Greenwood was one stage, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then '86 he got to the quarters. England did. Gary Lineker got the Golden Boot. And then Euro '88 they battered Yugoslavia in Belgrade 4-1. Like really went in as hot favourites. And he came up against an Ireland team and they just lost all the games. 1-0, 3-1, 3-1. Soviet Union and Holland did well in and then he went to PSV, wasn't it? After that, they called him a traitor. Bobby Robson, his birthday actually today.
Yeah, like I would say Venables. Like even you were talking about players playing under him and stuff. I think I think Venables was the one.
Okay, fair enough. That's we're all about opinions, John, and that's Martin's. West Coaster, what happens to the FAI? I don't know. Do you know what?
I don't know. What's that?
It's going to be if Mark. I'd wonder if Mark if this is where if it's going the way we think it's going. I don't know what happens there. I mean, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered if you don't get Carsley. You know, no, not Brendan Rodgers. Never liked him, even though I'm a Liverpool fan. Could never understand why until I realised he's got the eyes of Ron Jeremy. Okay. Thanks for that, Henry Nick. Give it to Keane ahead of Coleman. For fuck's sake, says Johnny Unitas. Now, is that Robbie Keane or is that Roy Keane? I'd imagine it's Roy Keane. Johnny Unitas, we don't have a Bale or Ramsey. Stephen O'Rourke. Delaney, what is a scumbag? And needs to be charged. Was a scumbag, needs to be charged for what he did. No comment. John Diamond. I agree with Martin in reference to waiting and not appointing someone until after the Euros. Felix Younger, it's ridiculous to say Carsley isn't interested. I think he is interested. He's just, it's money, isn't it? It's just all about money. Ferguson gone cold on form big time. No one else anywhere near proper quality, says Johnny Unitas. Very true. West Coaster, master plan to make a strategic appointment who would be involved in all age levels of the Irish game and be more of a coach than manager like Coleman. John Murphy, I get what you're saying about the Carsley having reservations about the FAI, but anyone who's dealt with them in the last 20 years has. Roy Keane or Damien Duff both have poor relationships with the FAI. Well, Duff walked out on them, so you know he quit. He threw his tools down. Roy Keane went back, but he went back with Martin O'Neill. And to be fair, you know, Roy, his last job before that was Ipswich Town, wasn't it? So he's probably a little bit sheepish going back to that. And you know, he had success as well. And I think, I think as well with John Delaney. Say what you want about John Delaney, right? And I'm not a fan of John Delaney at all. But he could sell a dream to you, though, couldn't he? My friend Frank said that to me. We were talking about that earlier on. If you're listening, Frank, because he always gives out, I steal all the stuff, which I kind of do, to be fair. But John Delaney could sell you a dream, couldn't he? He could sell you anything. That was one of his gifts. Probably his only gift. He was very, he'd get you on board. You know, he could talk you around. And, you know, he did business with people he fell out with, I suppose. Would you agree with that, Martin?
Yeah. That's what John Delaney was like.
Yeah,
you know, like you got to remember, it's football. There's no scruples in football. You know, there's a
business.
Roy Keane said, "I wouldn't believe anything that comes out of John Delaney's mouth. I wouldn't be listening to him. He was there and Saipan and stuff, and then he's working for him.
Then he's working for him, yeah.
So
and happy about it.
Yeah, that's how it works.
John Diamond will probably end up with Noel King. Why not Noel?
I upset a lot of people. I upset a lot of people with that. I did put this up the other day saying, you know, who could be an interim manager, and I put Noel King in there, and everyone went apeshit at me. Which was
hilarious.
The objective, to be very fair.
Yeah. That was funny. Felix Unger, top show, guys. Only Mess and Martin has good points and opinions. Just didn't get the Robbie Keane point, but class show as per usual. Both. Thank you very much, Felix. We do appreciate it. Don't give Martin too much credit. Stephen O'Rourke, Noel King. Oh my God. John Diamond, Anna Partridge. Good Lord, no, thank you. Felix Unger. So why did Inter get rid? Because Tardelli was the manager. No, wait. Tardelli was the manager. He got him in. And then Tardelli got sacked, didn't he? And who was the guy that came in? Or the guy got sacked and Tardelli got rid of him. I think Tardelli got rid of him, didn't he?
I thought you were saying Bono when you started clicking.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, it was basically a new manager came in. I can't remember which one. Jimmy Shell. Hi, guys. Great show as always. Thank you. Just wondering, is this all a bit of a smoke screen by Lee's former teammates to cool his name? And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The FAI come out in a blaze of glory announcing of fireworks, etc. And the name of Lee Carsley was own back himself. It could be. It could be, Jimmy. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. We're reacting to news. We're reacting to the conjecture as well, because all we have is conjecture, and we've held our hands up on that. We don't, we don't have any insider knowledge. But we're going by, there's no smoke without fire. This was mentioned today. Balls.e first of all. He's like, oh, okay, Balls.e, nothing against them. Then it's in the Independent, Miguel Delaney in the London Independent, and then it's mentioned, John Fallon mentions it then on the Examiner. So we don't know. It could be the FAI, to be fair, probably just sitting back and laughing. These idiots. And then Wednesday, bam, it's Carsley. You don't know. Or there could be, oh God, shit, Coleman, is it too late? Cancel his flight. You don't know. And we don't know. But when we do, we will be live. Stephen Ring, you said it. This is a different FAI to when Carsley played for us, but they haven't really done much to prove that. John Hill not moving to Ireland, like his contract stated, having to repay money. I've got to believe, Stephen. We've got to believe. I want to give him. Because at the end of the day, you need the FAI. And, I see what you're saying. And you are right about a lot of that. But I do think there are things like, okay, they got dragged in front of the Oireachtas committee. And basically, a few lads got a pound of flesh and gave them a few kicks. But they did get their funding after having it revoked. They had their funding reinstated. So they did, sort of quickly. But yeah, I think they're trying to do the right thing. It's just going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time, and they probably need a pristine from the last disaster. They probably need about a pristine 5 or 6 years, realistically, to sort of disinfect the last few years. Stephen O'Rourke, no matter who gets the job, we'll all have to get behind him, lads, and manager. Tough games coming up. Absolutely, we will be behind all the lads. David Redmond, give it Giggsy till the end of the season. Oh God, was he world class? Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, of course he was. Yeah, he was world class. Dennis Aaron wasn't, but John Diamond would love to get Moyes, but sadly, it will never happen. Everyone loves Moyes. Stephen Ring, don't know who would the lap get in ahead of our strikers at the moment. If Cannon says he's still interested in being Irish, surely he'd be ahead of the lap. 2. Jimmy Shell, Bobby Robson was also Barcelona, was he not? With Mourinho as his assistant.
He was after that, after being on the international stage there with England and stuff. Yeah, he was. And yeah, that's where brought Mourinho in as the interpreter. 96, 97. Then he was in 90. Then he was in with Newcastle. Did well in Europe with Newcastle, to be fair.
Did all right, yeah. Although it was quite convoluted, actually, the Champions League at that time, because it was the first group stage and the second group stage. Felix Unger, Robson was in charge when he failed to get to Euro 84. Oh, I wasn't too sure of that one. I could have gone on Wikipedia, but yeah, they did fail to qualify in 86. They did okay. Piotr Dugan, how you doing, Piotr? Shay Given didn't come up with line it off because he wasn't tall enough to do it all the time. He covered the one weakness he had very well. Good point as well. I think that was it. Wenger, because he wasn't tall enough, and he didn't come off sign because he wasn't tall enough. But what a great goalkeeper. Ireland's greatest. Sorry, he was. Stephen Ring, making a change from players who were world class. What about the ones who had the potential to be but never lived up to it? Top of the list for me was Darren Gibson. Go for that. I mean, I think Seamus Coleman and Stephen Carr, but that wasn't their fault. That was just unfortunate injury. And sometimes that happens. But yeah, I think Darren Gibson was one, wasn't he? He was very highly thought of. I'll give you one. Stephen Ireland. Absolutely had it all. That for me, he'd be top of the list. Stephen Ireland. What a player. Technically sound. They were looking at him to replace Paul Scholes. Obviously, you can't replace Paul Scholes, but they were looking at him as a long term. And we know what happened there. John Murphy, Stephen Ring. I would say Jack Byrne or James McCarthy. I'm not sure what that's in relation to. John Diamond, going back to the Bobby and Terry debate. Oh, Martin, what have you done? I still think Robson transformed Ipswich Town from second division side to FA Cup winners in 78 and UEFA Cup winners in 81 after leading England to the semi-finals of Italia 90. He took charge of some of the world's top overseas clubs, including PSV twice, Sporting Lisbon, FC Porto, and Barcelona. Won league titles and cups in every country he went to. Have that, Martin, son.
Let me come back on that. Venables was at QPR, won the second division. Then he went to Barcelona and won the Liga. They hadn't won it for years. So to get a step up from QPR, FA Cup with Tottenham.
Yeah.
He had some. He was just he was distracted so much. You know, he had the nightclubs and everything, didn't he? That just distracted him. He should have done so much better in his career. But I think he was kind of groundbreaking a little bit, going off to the La Liga and breaking that kind of stranglehold I think that Madrid had was a massive thing.
Okay, there you go. It's an interesting debate. I love this. I
Great
love
debate, actually. Yeah.
No, I love it. You're not going to agree, but you know what? Fair play.
No, I do. It's probably very close. You're looking at the CV there of Bobby Robson. I'm not backtracking on it, but yeah, he's brilliant man. I love Bobby Robson as well. As managers, they were so mature later on of knowing their players. They didn't have to coach then. Like, I think coaching wise, I think he was very, very good though, Venables.
And John Diamond, you make some great points there as well. I love that debate. See, our fans, our subscribers are knowledgeable. I love that. Bring it to it. I love it. Challenge, put us on the spot. We are on the spot, really. So brilliant. Shunik Roy, why does FAI can't spend money? Why is it the FAI can't spend money on a good coach and backroom staff when he spend a much higher amount on the salaries of the CEO and his management team? Well, I don't know the ins and outs, but maybe it's a good point there. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think if it comes out that they couldn't get Lee Carsley and he goes on to be a tippy top manager and it was $250,000 a year, I think it won't look good for the FAI. Felix Unger, my point is, why did Liverpool and Inter let a world-class player go, Martin?
How many world-class players have teams sold? Man United sold Jaap Stam. He was world-class. Like, it's ridiculous. It just doesn't work out every club. You're trying to say in the history of football that world-class players aren't sold week in, week out. That's just madness, isn't it?
Dennis Irwin was sold, let go on a free, wasn't he, from Leeds to Oldham in 1986?
Yep. Pretty interesting, actually. John Sheridan, I think, was with him, wasn't he? Came through with him.
Oldham and Leeds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, say.
Yeah, just sometimes it doesn't. Look, I mean, even that point, and it comes actually go on to the next point there, talking about players who we hope like some of these loan moves. Troy Parrott's gone off, and players off. Even Michael Johnson moving from Celtic now to West Brom, and these players move around. Not every club's a perfect fit for them, and other stuff's going on in their lives and stuff. You just have to understand that there's some mysterious moves in loan deals and things like that go on in football over the years. It's mad, really.
Martin backtracking there.
It's not backtracking, but it just is. But it just doesn't work out at some clubs, does it?
Okay, yeah, no, that's all right.
No, I'm just making a point of it.
Just like, Dennis Hearn wasn't world class, but Robbie Keane was. John Murphy, Ireland. Oh, better put it up there. John Murphy, Ireland had loads of failed wonder kids. Remember thinking Conor Masterson, Hope, likes of Connolly and Parrott don't waste their potential. Yeah, Conor Masterson, wasn't he at Liverpool, went to QPR, just didn't work out. I think Troy Parrott is a player. There's a player in there. He's doing very well. He did start in the Rotterdam derby. It wasn't Feyenoord. It was Sparta Rotterdam. He lost 4-2 after going, I think, 2-0 up. He did play the full 90 minutes, if that's worth anything. But I think there's a player in there. I think there's a player in there with Parrott. But Connolly, we'll see. He's not really getting the whole team at the moment. He was injured. He was doing well. He got injured. I think he's been very unlucky there. But we're not hearing anything coming out of Hull. So it seems like he's got his head down. And it's only a matter of time, you hope, for Aaron Connolly. John Diamond. Agree with David. Stephen Ireland could have been world class. Good man, John. I like this John Diamond guy. He's a good guy. You treat him with a bit of respect, Martin. Stephen O'Rourke. Stephen Ireland was a traitor to our country. Walk away from our team and doesn't even deserve to be mentioned. He is a bit of a strange one, Stephen Ireland, all right. Stephen Ring replies to John Murphy. McCarthy was really hampered by injury, so would have some sympathy there. Dave, great shout with Stephen Ireland. Thank you, Stephen. See, the faithful love me, Martin. They don't like you, though, with your mad comments. Neri Nurik, wrap it up, guys. Show's nearly 2 hours long and getting close to midnight. Well, I'll tell you what, Neri, our little ray of sunshine over there, if there's a new manager announced, we'll be on till bloody 2 a.m. Although we are going to wrap this up. John Diamond.
Although, let's be honest, the FAI have announced things at midnight before as well.
They have. So if they do announce it, I'll tell you what, we'll be back on. Martin might be sleeping on the couch tonight. Stephen Ireland should have a surname changed by deed poll, says John Diamond. Stephen O'Rourke. We have a very serious fan base here with all the Republic of Ireland, and we are all proud of our team. To tough times and bad, no money should be spared on new management and the future of Irish soccer. Well said, Stephen. Robert Duggan, how you doing, Robert? Again, Chris Coleman's son, Sonny, is defending him about his managerial record on Twitter in the comments. We did actually, I think you're a bit late to it, but we did actually comment on that earlier on. Blue and Gold, Wayne Rooney management career is gone so low. He wants to go to boxing. He could go on par with that and be offered the Harden job. Jesus. Oh, imagine Wayne Rooney. Hilarious. Stephen Unger, Stamp was to let.
Stan was let go because he upset Ferguson.
Keane was let go by the clubs who didn't want him.
That's world-class players who were let go. Yeah. But anyway.
Fucking hell. Jimmy Shell, God, there's some shit stirring going on with listeners tonight, and I love it. Good man, Jimmy. See, this is what we do here. We are the podcast for the grown-ups. You can come on here, you can say pretty much what you want, as long as it's not illegal and get us into any sort of trouble, and we'll read it out. We'll have a bit of crack, and we'll hear Martin's barmy opinions. David Nicholson, hi lads, just wondering about news about former Wales manager Chris Coleman for your job.
You can watch this back. You got 2 hours apparently.
You got 2 hours of it. You can watch it back, David. Stephen Ring, could Jeff Henry be considered someone who didn't live up to his potential after how good he was at Euro 26? That's a really good shout. Yeah, I mean, he hit a crossbar against Sweden, and that seems to be it for his. And the assist for which one was the assist for? The one in Wales or the one in Austria? Or was it Germany? He had an assist for a goal, but yeah, he hasn't lived up, and he's at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment. It's a Sheffield Wednesday he's at, and he's not getting in anywhere.
He can't even get in their squad now. He's on loan.
Really
there,
bad.
Yeah. But he's on serious though.
He is. Like Harry Arter. That's another one, Harry Arter.
Yeah, what? Before lived up to his potential. Or on serious money for doing nothing.
Wow.
That would be it. With
Jesus, Martin.
Nah, I'm not having
that.
No, I don't have him at all.
No, but I mean, England were after him as well.
I don't hate any Irish player, right? I'd never hate an Irish player, but
right. But you hate Harry
One
Arter.
player I'd probably dislike is Harry Arter for Ireland. I think he used Ireland. He never did anything. He didn't feel like. I'm not having him as an Irish player.
I mean, talk about like go away heat, as they call it in the entertainment industry. He was not Nottingham Forest player.
Yeah.
He played for Notts County whilst being a Nottingham Forest player, and no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
That says everything you need to know, and they hate each other.
Yeah.
John Murphy, Rooney would be fun in fairness. Yes, he would. Daniel Granham, would Seamus Cohen have been as world-class at one point in his career too? We did cover that earlier on, but yes, before that leg break against Wales, ironically enough, Coleman's Wales. That was a horrible game. Yes, I do think so. He probably would have gone to a top team, a top 4 team easily. He was superb. John Murphy, before you go, lads, what's your opinion on the progressive style versus results debate? Ireland before Charlton played a progressive style, but the only success we had was with pragmatists, O'Neill, Charlton, etc. No, I think Mick played a very good style. People forget when Mick came in '96, he played 5 at the back. He played with wing backs, and it was after we lost 3-2 in Skopje to Macedonia. Andy Townsend apparently had a row with him. He's captain. He went, "No, we can't do this. We're 4-4-2." And I think during that 2000 World Cup 2002 campaign, he played a good style. If you go back and watch the games in 2002 in the World Cup, I remember going back and watching that when Martin O'Neill was the manager of Ireland, Martin. And I remember just like Shay Given there, just rolling the ball out to Steve Finnan. It's like, oh my God. So, don't be, I think that kind of gets lost a little bit. Mick played a good style in his first 10 years Ireland manager. Dave Nicholson, cheers lads, only tuned in. Good man, David. We appreciate it. You got plenty of stuff to go back on, but thank you so much. We love your support. Stephen O'Rourke, I think your podcast is absolutely fantastic. Keep it up, guys. Well done. Thank you very much, Stephen O'Rourke. We really do appreciate that. Thank you. We're building this channel. This YouTube channel, we're really going to get this going. We have some really good projects. We're filming something tomorrow. That sounds ominous. Definitely on the couch now, Martin. We're filming something tomorrow. It's going to be completely different. It's going to be an actual program. We can't say too much about it because we're going to see how it goes. But we are looking to get more content on the YouTube channel. We want to grow this, and it's not just going to be about streams. It's going to be like proper programs. So just keep tuned in on that one. What's up? What's coming in? Is there anything else? North Macedonia. Oh God, yeah. One of the lads that's watching. I said Macedonia. Sorry, North Macedonia. Do you remember that? Fucking he was coming after me. It's like, in North Macedonia. You said Macedonia. It's like, well, it was called Macedonia at the time, but it's North Macedonia. Yeah, but it was West Germany at the time. I'm still gonna say fucking West Germany, but anyway. Stephen Unger, Wales goal. That's the Hendrick assist. Yes, thank you, Felix. Stephen Ring, Hendrick assist away against Wales when we won 1-0. Felix Unger, Martin, I absolutely agree with you about Arthur. Oh, there you go. You see, you found
friends.
We're friends again. Alex Watt, Chris Coleman, what do we think? I think it'll be a good appointment. Jesus, Alex. It was about 2 hours worth of footage that I probably said he won't. Stephen Ring, any word of a live in-person show? Yes.
Working on it.
Oh, I've just broken the
illusion. It's like going to Disney World.
Yeah, hold on.
There's behind the scenes.
Yeah. Hold on, there you go. That's a little wizard in the back. Oh, fucking hell. You never know what's going to happen here on Lansdowne Roar Live, do you? But yeah, even the set has given up.
No, Alex, just to carry on with your point there. Yeah, look, we've been covering it we've been chatting about 2 hours now. It's been brilliant engagement from everyone as well. So yeah, look, we appreciate you just joined in. But yeah, there's lots of points made and other obscure names.
Don't go back to the Stephen Ring Any Word in Life in-person show. I think we are looking
working on it. Yeah,
we're working on it. We are working on it actually. So stay tuned. But
we would need to know. We'd have to get some guidance of people that are going to actually come along and be part of it because that's what we would need to make sure that it does work.
Has to be in London. I'm trying to hold up my set with one hand and fucking type with the other. But yeah, we definitely are looking at it, Stephen. Definitely are looking at it. David Nicholson, will do if we get the chance to look over. Look, it's been a cracking episode. This live, Thomas Reynolds. Yes, it is. You are live on YouTube. Alex Watt, only tune in, lads. But if Coleman doesn't get a job, who would you reckon will get it? I reckon it will be Carsley, if not Coleman. It's going to be one of those two, I think. Felix Unger, Martin, you fancy a pint? There you go, Martin.
Well, see,
Jesus, making mates. Yeah, maybe at the next Ireland away game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. John Diamond, when it comes to unfulfilled potential, Mark Kennedy, yeah, good shout. He was once the most expensive teenager in British football when Liverpool shelled out an initial 1.5 million to take him from Millwall, and he did win 36 caps for us, but things just never worked out for him the way he might have. And that goal against Serbia. No, Yugoslavia in Lansdowne Road in 1999. Fabulous. There's actually commentary on the Facebook page, and I got it from Channel 5. And the guy, he's at BBC, the real excitable fella, and he's got Jack Charlton doing commentary. He's brilliant. Fantastic. Alex Watt, only just tune in, Alex. Good man, Alex. We appreciate it. We got 2 hours to get through there. Stephen O'Rourke, I think when Mick McCarthy took over after Jack Charlton, he wasn't left with much and had to lead a lot of young players, and he did a very good job. Yep, the 2002 World Cup was his demise over the fallout. Even when he came back, he did as well and deserves respect for what he has done. Do we need to go back down that road with him again? No, we need someone new and good. I agree with that, Stephen, and he did a very good job, and he's a lovely man, Mick. A lot of time in the world for Mick. You ever see him? He comes across as a gruff kind of, northerner, but he's actually a really lovely man, and he's done great things for Ireland as player and captain. David Nicholson, Korea, Japan 2000 World Cup. Damien Duff was one of the goal scorers against Saudi Arabia. He was, and he was superb. He had a great World Cup. Got him to move to Chelsea, I reckon. Robert Duggan, and I thought Dave was sat in a little black box or the back cave or something. Yeah, Doug, it's the magic, Robert. Sorry. Basically, yeah, I did have a proper studio, but I had to move out of my flat before December. Thank you, Mr. Landlord. I had a big hole in the roof. Do you remember, Mark, we were on here and my roof almost came in? We were actually, see, I tell you what, we'll write a book about it sometime, but sometimes just shit happens and you have no idea. We tried to, but basically my roof was caved in by the roofer guy because he was a fucking idiot, and it almost came in, and I had to come on and do a live show. And then that night there was a storm, a flash storm here in London, and we had like flooding, and it was coming through the ceiling and everything, and then I had to move. But anyway, Stephen Ring, what about when the Chris Cup is on?
That'll be one in Ireland then, wouldn't it? We'll have to see. Yeah, there's a lot of things in the pipeline, as we said, and we're just working out how.
Lots of things, great plans ahead, and we will be going to. Well, I'll be going to all the Ireland matches, please God, anyway, this year, and Martin will be going to as many as his lovely wife allows him to. Irish
Wembley.
You can have one. Irish Jedi lads. Let's say Coleman is a disaster. Loses his first time. What happens before World Cup qualifiers? They probably let his contract run out. Probably won't. I imagine they have a clause in there. I'd hope. John Diamond, Keith O'Neill, another player with unfulfilled potential, no fault of his own, though, as he was very injury prone on his day. He was a cracking player. He was Croatia. Was it Croatia in '98? He came off and he never came back on again. Irish Jedi, who do you think the FAI never came up with outside picks from across Europe? Or why do you think the FAI never came up with outside picks from across Europe? For example, Slaven Bilic or the ex-Swiss manager?
I think it's a case of wanting to know who you're dealing with, really. You know, they might be successful managers in their own right, but like we knew Trapattoni through Brady, didn't we, really? Whereas, yeah, everyone else, you got to just remember, you've really got to understand, I think, kind of Irish-British football and have that mentality, and not everyone gets that.
Fair enough. Oh, we are a unique species, to be fair. Stephen O'Rourke, I hope it's Carsley. Irish Jedi, do you buy the 250,000k excuse for Carsley not being appointed? Feels like a cop-out. We'll have to see. If we don't know if he's been appointed yet or not. If he's not appointed, then basically, yeah, we'll have a look at it then. Last couple of comments here, lads. We're going to wrap it up here. Aidan Steve Highway never gets mentioned as one of the greats. I think he was criminally underrated, probably because he never scored for Ireland, but he was a brilliant player. And the last one, we're going to leave on a high note here. David Nicholson, what a tune, put him under pressure. Italian 90 original lyrics was from the Horselips. Yes, it was indeed. Anyway, listen, lads, we're going to leave it there. Wow, 2 hours. It's supposed to be like a quick half an hour. That didn't work out. But listen, thank you so much for your support, by the way, your comments, your engagement. You're fantastic. We love you very, very much. Honestly, like brilliant support again. Now, when the manager is announced, we will be live. I'm pretty certain we will be live. I might be a late one again, but we will be live. But listen, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your comments. As I said, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. We are trying to get the YouTube channel up and running. Scan that QR code if you're on your desktop and head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want opinion, head over to thegreenmachinepodcast.com. Thegreenmachinepodcast.com. No, Neri, we have not changed the website, like we haven't changed the music either, but that's what happens. Anyway, listen, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless. I'm David Dunn. He is Martin Prendergast, and this has been Lansdowne Roar Live. Good night.